today, the San Francisco 49ers against the Minnesota Vikings.
We have a capacity crowd of 62,000 indoors in the Metrodome in Minneapolis as the defending champion 49ers take the first step to try to repeat against the Minnesota Vikings, who are back with an old familiar face. Ray Wersching will be kicking off for the 49ers as the Vikings have won the toss. The San Francisco 49ers, who have won 2 Super Bowls in recent years, and there is Buster Rhymes, who is the deep man, rookie from Oklahoma. And Wersching will be kicking off. This is Dick Stockton along with Wayne Walker and Bud Grant, back for his 18th year. He retired for 1 year, and he is back. And the man who's trying to lead the 49ers to the promised land again is Joe Montana. We're underway for the 1985 season, and Wersching's kick in the end zone, 2 yards back. Rhymes. And he's tripped up, and he might have had a lot more. Torrey Nixon makes the stop, and a good return by Buster Rhymes. The Minnesota Vikings offense. And, of course, it's been a team that was decimated with injuries to the offensive line last year, Wayne, and Bud Grant is back. What does that mean?
Well, I think they're going to be very conservative today, Dick, against the San Francisco defense. Tommy Kramer told us yesterday that he's going to start out with the little short things, the short passes, things underneath, and maybe once in a while try to hit deep.
The ball is at the 28-yard line, 1st and 10. Alfred Anderson is the lone running back. Carlton Williamson plays tight to the line. Anderson going wide and doesn't get much. The 49ers, a lot of people think they won it last year on their defense. Jim Stuckey starting for Jeff Stover at left defensive end. As you look at their base defense, 49ers an aggressive defensive unit.
They are, but if there's any question marks in it, it's at left outside linebacker Todd Shell and inside Mike Walter. They're both starting for the first time this year.
And all of those men in the secondary were Pro Bowlers last year. Gain of 1, 2nd and 9 at the 29-yard line. Fred Dean is coming in the ball game. Nickel defense in for San Francisco. Kramer loses the handle. Loose ball. Back at the 24-yard line, and the 49ers say they have it, and so do the officials. Tommy Kramer lost contact, and the fumble's recovered. Dwayne Board makes the recovery.
Watch the surge by the defensive line over here on the left side. Dwayne Board, number 76, working against Tim Irwin, throws him away. The ball is loose, and then Board is on it.
Not the kind of break that the Minnesota Vikings, who won 3 and lost 13 last year, need against the 49ers, as Joe Montana brings them out 1st and 10 on the Viking 24. Going to the air on the first play. Up the middle, Roger Craig. Great move by Craig as he's tackled at the 10-yard line. Roger Craig, the leading receiver last year with 71 catches.
Craig is a man that Bill Wall says he will feature more and more this year as he approaches stardom in the National Football League. He's the play-action fake right there. There's no blitz coming, so he just backpedals. And they don't see him. Studwell, number 55, the inside linebacker there, lost sight of him. And then Craig, of course, as he usually does, picks up yardage after the catch.
Rufus Best and Keith Nord on the tackle, 1st and 10. Craig running this time with Randy Cross blocking, and he's in for the touchdown. Good block by Wendell Tyler, and it didn't take the 49ers long to score for the first time in 85.
One of their favorite plays here, Dick. They like to toss out wide and get the guards cross, and Ayers out in front. Look at 51 Cross. Craig sets the block up for him. Cross gets a piece of it. That was Browner, number 47, and that's what they wanted to do today. They wanted to test the corners of Minnesota because they're the ones that come up and have to contain on the rush.
Bud Grant says maybe he'll go back hunting tomorrow. 6-0, and Ray Wersching, who last year hit 56 straight conversions, makes good on this one. And so with 13-19 left in the first quarter, the 49ers strike. In effect, he had his coming out party at the Super Bowl with 3 touchdowns. Roger Craig, who scores from 10 yards out, and usually the winners get the advantage and the losers have the problems with takeaways and giveaways.
Well, you saw what happened on Minnesota's first series, and it was a giveaway and a takeaway by the 49ers. Bud Grant said that just can't happen today, or we don't have a chance to win. If we keep the ball 30 minutes and San Francisco keeps the ball 30 minutes, they'll win because their ability is that much better than ours.
So in 31 seconds, the 49ers lead, and there's Buster Rhymes back at the goal line as Ray Wershing gets set to kick off once more. This one goes into the end zone 5 yards, and Rhymes running it out. And he is stacked up at the 20-yard line by Jeff Fuller. Well, college football returns to CBS next Saturday. The Fighting Irish of Notre Dame against the Michigan Wolverines, a rivalry that goes back to 1887. Eastern here on CBS, college football comes back. 1st and 10, they mark the ball at the 21. Anderson is joined by Darren Nelson in the backfield. And it's Darren Nelson. Hit hard, but brings it out beyond the 25-yard line. Out of Stanford, 5'9", 185. Tackle made by Todd Shell and Ricky Ellison, and once recruited by Bill Walsh at Stanford.
That's in San Francisco, making a lot of defensive changes now. As you know, following them from last year's Super Bowl team, they probably use more variances in their defense than any other team, and they've already changed so much now in Minnesota that I'm sure that they're wondering who's in there and when they're going to be there.
Todd Shell, of course, is replacing Dan Bunz, a veteran who was put on waivers. 2nd down and 6 at the 25-yard line for Tommy Kramer. Going to the air for the first time, Leo Lewis is crunched by Dwight Hicks. Could not hold on to the ball, and no wonder. Little Leo was hit hard by Hicks and Eric Wright.
And good coverage by Eric Wright out on the corner. He was right there, too. Watch him playing up bump and run here now. Lewis gets inside, and I know Wright didn't want him there, but he's got some help coming up here for number 22, Dwight Hicks, and they sandwich him.
About as physical as secondaries you'll see in the league.
They'll hit you.
It'll be 3rd down now. Third down and 5. Dana McLemore and Jeff Fuller in the nickel situation. Fuller in a fullback in a linebacker kind of position. Tommy Kramer running for his life. And he has the first down. Good move by Tommy Kramer. And a first down for the Vikings.
Nothing downfield now. The San Francisco nickel, they got their best athletes in there on defense right now, and they say, hey, we'll take our 5 against your 5 receivers and see what you can do. Nothing open, and Kramer doing what he does pretty well, believe it or not. He says that he thinks his strong suit is reading and moving and sliding around in the pocket and buying some extra time. He says, I'm not a scrambler per se like number 10 used to be here or like number 16 is for the 49ers, but I can move around pretty good.
He's been battered and bruised the last 2 years, played only 9 games last year and 2 the year before. 1st and 10 for the Vikings. Their first down of the game on the 31-yard line, and here's Darren Nelson on a counter play, but Ricky Ellison penetrating in the middle stops him for a loss back to the 30-yard line.
Inside here now, and the line play. Now watch Ricky Ellison. He'll read, step up, and come through. Now, it wasn't a blitz. He just read the blocking over there on that side and saw the guard blocking down, and he was through and in the right spot. He was, of course, taken over perhaps the defensive leadership up in front for Jack Reynolds, who called the play so many years for the 49ers.
2nd and 10 for the Vikings on their 31-yard line. They have 3 wide receivers, 2 lined up to the right. Alfred Anderson going left. Tina Turner chases him, and Anderson is within 2 yards of a first down. Well, they had the wide receivers out there, but the Vikings decided to rush, and a gain of 9 yards for Alfred Anderson. Tina Turner on the stop.
Anderson, a good rookie year last year. He led all NFC rookies in rushing with over 700 yards and showed his quickness there bouncing out. And for Tina Turner, who is also extremely fast, he could have picked up a lot more.
3rd down and 1 at the 40. Bill Walsh. Steve Jordan joined by Mike Malarkey. 2 tight end formation. Kramer to pass on 3rd and 1. Malarkey, the intended receiver, was hit as the ball sailed past. Ricky Ellison was defending on the play, and it'll be 4th down, and Greg Coleman, who led the NFL with fewest touchbacks last year, will come in to kick it away for the Vikings. Coleman had a terrific year, best average of his 8-year season, and Dana McLemore, who is 2nd in the NFC in punt returns to Henry Eller to the Rams, is back. rush is on. McLemore at the sideline is hit as he is knocked out of bounds just shy of the 20-yard line. 10:42 remaining in the first quarter. 7-0 San Francisco. Hello, everyone. Dick Stockton and Wayne Walker. Everyone knows about the 49ers' depth and their coaching ability. Why could this be a different story as far as repeating for a title this year, Wayne?
Well, I think quite simply, they're just a lot better football team than they were in 1982. You take a look at Joe Montana's been around longer. They've all been together so many more years. The defensive secondary back in 82, that was their second year. Now they've had 5 years experience. And I think quite simply, the main reason is, look at their running attack. They didn't have Wendell Tyler and Roger Craig when they tried to defend in 82. They have them now, and that's really what makes them special.
And fewer new faces, too, and that always helps. One face that is not new, of course, is Joe Montana, who is right now the most accurate quarterback in NFL history. Top rated in the league last year. 1st and 10 at the 20. Montana looking, going to Dwight Clark. Out of bounds. Rufus Best covering on the play. There was some question as to whether Dwight Clark would play. He's had a pulled groin muscle, and Clark may give way to Mike Wilson throughout most of this game. Looking at the offense now, we talked about Tyler and Craig, and we're going to see another wide receiver soon in Jerry Rice. What is Bill Walsh trying to accomplish? What's the design for the Niners in this game?
Well, you know what? Minnesota cut 4 defensive starters off last year's team, and so they're kind of a question mark for the 49ers. I think they want to just mix things up early and then find out what'll work for them.
Roger Craig with another block from Randy Cross, and Matt Blair wrestles him down at the 24-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and about 5 as the Minnesota Vikings defense rated 28th last year in the NFL. And they're kind of inexperienced with, as you say, 4 new starters in there.
Well, you know what, and their main concern today is just be kind of cautious against the 49ers. Bob Holloway says that he charted that the Niners make 50% of the yardage after the catch. So that'll make Minnesota a little bit more conservative. They won't blitz. They'll try to gang tackle after each catch.
Jerry Rice, the much heralded rookie, is in the lineup now at wide receiver. 3rd down and 6 at the 24. Montana flushed from the pocket and has to throw it away. Good rush from Neil Elshire. And Max Runeker is in the punt. Darren Nelson is back at the 35-yard line, and Runeker came over as an Eagle reject and had a fine year last season. Good kick. Nelson will see it go out of bounds just beyond the 30-yard line. And right now, for an NFL Today report, let's check in with Brent Musburger in New York. Thank you, Brent. The 49ers lead 7-0, taking advantage of an early turnover with Roger Craig scoring from 10 yards out. 9:43 remain in the first quarter. One thing the 49er coaches told us, Wayne, is that this is a different Minnesota team. No matter how many games they win, they're a lot more intense than they were a year ago. Anthony Carter, number 81, another much heralded first-year man who came over from the USFL as wide right. The pitch goes to Darren Nelson. Alfred Anderson with a good block. Crunching play by the Vikings, and that was kind of their trademark when Bud Grant had the team in the heyday, and Anderson put quite a block on Keena Turner. Michael Carter and Mike Walter combined to make the tackle. Tampa Bay jumps ahead of the defending champions, Chicago, in the Central Division.
Kansas City over New Orleans, 7-0 in the first quarter.
Seattle over Cincinnati, and you heard from Brent that the Giants are 14 points to the good against the Eagles, and other scores early. 2nd and 5. Ball at the 36 of the Vikings. Complete to Anthony Carter. And a first down in San Francisco territory. Ron Ferrari and Ronnie Lott make the stop on Anthony Carter. 15-yard gain.
Tommy Kramer made a good read right here because Anthony Carter one-on-one here against Ronnie Lott. He didn't have any help at all. Carter ran it down like he was going towards the post and then just curled up. And Lott was playing with a little bit of a cushion, which I think most people are going to, because AC has got a reputation coming into this league of being a flyer.
Came over from Miami in a trade for Robin Senline, a linebacker. The Dolphins had his rights. Vikings glad they have him. 1st and 10 at the 49, and Alfred Anderson goes in motion. Kramer. Up the middle. Deflected.
Todd Shell, I believe, got a hand on it. He's the youngster that was a #1 draft choice last year, who was making a start at strong side linebacker this year for the departed Dan Buns. And Bill Wall says that he is a great athlete and has the potential to be a great player. A great athlete, I say, in high school. The guy right there, high jump, 6'10". He's up to 230 pounds now after being drafted as a 215-pound rookie.
2nd and 10 for the Vikings. Just inside midfield. 8 minutes, 10 seconds to go first quarter. 7-0 San Francisco. Darren Nelson has blockers. And Nelson moves it up to the 46-yard line where Ricky Ellison makes the tackle.
And Todd Shell made another good play over there, Dick, although he didn't get in on the tackle. He got some good penetration and made Darren Nelson belly back and enabled Ellison to get over there.
Ellison a bit shaken up as he leaves the field right now, and he is down on the ground over on the 49ers sideline being tended to there. It'll be 3rd down and 8. There is Ricky Ellison, who led the team in tackles last year. Ball at the 47 of San Francisco. Penalty marker down. Kramer loops it up for Alfred Anderson, the running back, who is covered all the way by Jeff Fuller. But a penalty flag is down. Jim Tunney is the referee today, and he'll tell us what it's all about. Offsides against San Francisco, so now it'll be 3rd and 3 for the Vikings.
I'll tell you what happened on that play is that Ronnie Lott was on a safety blitz, and he got started a little early to jump back.
Offside defense, number 95, still 3rd down.
And when Michael Carter saw Ronnie Lott coming from the outside out of the corner of his eye, he started too, and he was the one that was eventually called for that offside. Michael Carter, the nose tackle.
So now we have a 3rd and 3 situation at the 49er 42, and Ted Brown, perhaps the best all-around running back that the Vikings have, and a good receiver in the ballgame. Three wide receivers and Ted Brown. And moving in the line, Tim Irwin, the right tackle, kind of walked off sides, and let's see whether he was drawn. It is against Minnesota.
False start, number 76. 5 yards, still 3rd down.
So we're back to 3rd and 8. Irwin, rated the top offensive lineman for the Minnesota Vikings, who plummeted from 11th to 25th in percentage of sacks against their quarterback last year because of the injuries. But Brent Boyd is back. He had a broken leg. He was out last season. And that'll help. 7:21 remaining in the first quarter. In the shotgun for Tommy Kramer. There's pressure on him. And the pass was intended for Anthony Carter. Dana McLemore, the nickel back, was with him all the way. They didn't get to Kramer, but they put good pressure from outside on him.
They did, and they got good penetration in there, which meant that Kramer had to throw between arms and around people, and that probably prevented the ball from getting there.
Here's Greg Coleman ready to punt. Kramer has completed just 1 of 5 passes, and Dana McLemore is back in punt return position at the 12. Coleman looking for the sidelines, gets off a high punt. It bounces at the 5 and goes out of bounds. They mark it out at the 7. That's Greg Coleman, good punter. Ever the realist, Wayne, Bud Grant was telling us the other day about how his players are so busy finding places to live and getting their phones hooked up. He says now they have to play a game against the 49ers to boot.
Yeah, he said he had so many new faces in here that about 13 or 14 guys probably didn't know how to get to the stadium.
Let's count. I believe they got here. Chris Dolman, their #1 draft pick, has replaced Matt Blair at outside linebacker. Joe Montana from his own 8 throws. Caught by John Frank, the tight end. And near a first down territory is Frank. Chris Martin makes the tackle. So Montana throwing inside his own 5-yard line, or inside the 10.
And Montana showing his special ability there of going back, setting up, nothing there, and then he breaks. Then they have a break drill. It's just not something that they improvise, 100%. They practice what they call a scramble drill almost every day, so he knows exactly what he can and can't do in those situations.
Freddie Solomon comes out wide left. 1st and 10 for the 49ers on the 8-yard line, and fumble, a penalty marker down. Roger Craig carrying up the middle. Wendell Tyler is yet to carry the ball. Mark Mullaney making the stop for the Vikings. And a holding call against the 49ers will set him back. The 49ers gain 9 yards on that first play.
Holding 51. 10 yards. Still 2nd down.
And Randy Cross guilty of holding, so it's still 2nd down. 2nd down and 11 for the 49ers. Back inside their 10. Montana to Roger Craig. Flick. And Joey Browner put the tag on Roger Craig, who had 1st down yardage before he fell on the artificial turf. So it'll be 3rd down and about 5 for San Francisco. 6:03 remaining in the first quarter. 7-0 the 49ers lead on a Roger Craig touchdown.
I think it's obvious, Dick, into the game right now, that Joe Montana is not bothered by that bad back, which caused him to miss the last 2 preseason games. He's throwing extremely well.
3rd down was money in the bank for the 49ers last year. Montana fires, caught. 20-yard line. Freddie Solomon, the receiver, and that should be good for a 1st down at the 20-yard line. Carl Lee and Matt Blair combined to make the tackle. So Montana throwing. He doesn't care if it's deep in his own territory. One thing their coaches told us is that he's not resting on his laurels by any means this year.
They said he came back to training camp and worked harder at fundamentals than in any other year, especially his footwork, his drops, you know, the 3-step drop and the 5 and the 7, just to get him down.
Jerry Rice, the rookie, wide to the left, in motion. Roger Craig to the right. Montana finds Craig all alone, but Matt Blair comes up quickly and knocks Craig out of bounds. Short gain there. It'll be 2nd down. Joe Montana did not play the last 2 preseason games with an inflamed disc in his lower back, and so he comes in with his back in ginger condition right now.
Yeah, he said he thinks it's okay. He said, but it happened in a game throwing, and he wasn't throwing across his body. He was basically throwing downfield. He said, if it would happen again like it did in the Denver game, I would have to come out. He said, I really can't play with it.
He's completed 5 of 7 so far. 2nd down and 8. In motion, Earl Cooper out to the right. Pass intended for Cooper. Can't hold on. Joey Browner on the hit. So when Earl Cooper is in there for the 49ers, it's as a receiver. He is a former running back and dangerous after he catches it. But the Vikings are playing tight defense, and it's 3rd down.
You can tell that the 49ers are going right down that list of 25 plays that they have, Dick. You know, a lot of teams would come out, and the Niners had, you know, success running the ball earlier on the sweeps and things, but they haven't gone back to that. They're going down their list, and they're looking out there to see how Minnesota reacts on defense. Then they'll come back to things.
6 defensive backs. The 46th defense that the Bears use in there now for the Vikings. In motion is Earl Cooper. 3rd and 8 at the 22. Montana has open spaces. And he's close to a 1st down, tackled at the 30-yard line, and the measurement may tell it all. Willie Teal makes the tackle, and Montana gets up limping.
I think he took a lot bigger hit than he wanted to, because he was about a yard short of the 1st down and saw that it was going to be questionable whether he could get there or not, and he lunged forward instead of, you know, taking the safe way down. Watch him here. He's looking for Roger Craig over the middle, but Scott Studwell's in pretty good shape, and then he just, as they call, break. Now watch this. He knows exactly where he is. He wants to slide, but he sees he's too far away. He goes forward to try to get it, and Studwell and I think Teal get a pretty good shot on him.
It is a 1st down, but it appears to be a costly one for the 49ers as Joe Montana comes off the field and Matt Cavanaugh comes in. It looked to be his ankle, and we'll see how they work it out. So Matt Cavanaugh, who has gained a lot of confidence as a backup and played most of preseason for the 49ers, and maybe Wayne, one of the best backup quarterbacks around, but he's not Joe Montana.
He came in and won a couple of ball games for him last year. He played the entire game last year against the Eagles and was exceptional.
1st and 10 at the 30. There's Wendell Tyler carrying for the first time, and he doesn't get much, trying to test the left side. Joe Montana having his left knee looked at. Chris Martin and Scott Studwell combined to make the tackle for the Vikings. So it's not the back that sends Montana out of the ball game, but the knee for Joe Montana to this point. And we understand that Dan Marino has been hurt and knocked out of the game for the Miami Dolphins in their opener. It was a gain of 3 for Tyler. 2nd down and 7 for the 49ers on their own 33. Winding down to 4 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Niners lead it 7-0. Kavanaugh on a play action. Fires. Dwight Clark, and the pass is intercepted. Penalty marker down. Joey Browner. Browner brings it back to the 28-yard line of San Francisco, but penalty markers were down. Dwight Clark was the intended receiver. And hold everything. Jim Tunney in a conference. And it appears to be against Minnesota by the reaction on Matt Blair's face.
Shaking his head.
Pass interference. Defense. First down.
Ever stoic is Bud Grant on the sideline. Let's see what happened with Dwight Clark here, 87.
Let's watch 59. Matt Blair, the outside linebacker. He's on the coverage here. Turns around, looks for the ball, and makes some contact on Clark before the ball gets there. Okay, it wasn't a lot of contact, but it was contact.
So 62,000 throats boo, and the 49ers keep the ball and have a 1st and 10 at their own 41-yard line. Nullifies the interception by Browner. Kavanaugh with an audible here. Play action. Kavanaugh to throw. Going up top to Freddie Solomon. He had beaten Rufus Best by about 10 yards, but the pass just beyond Freddie Solomon's fingers.
Rufus Best, number 21, who is making the start over there on the left side for the experienced John Swain, who was one of those 4 that was cut on the last cut by the Vikings. And Freddie Solomon had about 3 or 4 steps on him as you see the ball just off his fingertips. I think Matt Kavanaugh audibled that. We have a report that Joe Montana will be back in the ball game.
Meanwhile, with 3:37 remaining in the first quarter, 2nd down and 10 for the 49ers. Matt Blair is telling the crowd to quiet down a bit. Roger Craig goes in motion left. Montana, or Kavanaugh, hits Jerry Rice for a 1st down in the Minnesota territory at the 42-yard line. Nord and Teal in the secondary make the stop. So Jerry Rice, in his first NFL reception, catches it 17 yards, 1st down.
This was the number 1 draft choice of the 49ers, who, of course, set all kinds of records in college. But he has performed since day 1 at training camp like he's about a 6-year veteran. Bill Walsh calls him the Iceman. He said he came into training camp and wasn't affected by the system, the veterans, and anything else, and looked good from day 1.
16th pick in the draft, set a lot of records in the Mississippi Valley State Conference. On a reverse, Mike Wilson, the wide receiver, has a 1st down. Penalty markers fly as Wilson charges inside the 30-yard line. Keith Nord and Dennis Johnson make the tackle. So our first fancy play for the 49ers will be called back on a holding call. 14-yard gain on the reverse. Bring it back.
The game right now is starting to sway a little bit towards the Vikings in the way I think Bud Grant wanted to go, Dick.
Holding. 81. 10 yards. Still 1st down.
Tight end Russ Francis.
Grant said that we've got to play an error-free game and hope that 49ers make a lot of them for us to be competitive in this one.
Well, a 2:49 to go as you look at Russ Francis, who's been sidelined with a pinched nerve in the neck, but very necessary for the blocking scheme for the 49er running attack. Guilty there. So far, you'd have to say a 7-0 deficit is not all that bad for the Vikings. First down and 20 back at the 48-yard line. Niners in their own territory. Another penalty as Roger Craig carries to the 46-yard line of Minnesota, but another yellow flag is thrown. Studwell and Mullaney make the tackle. This time it's offsides against the Vikings. So a busy first quarter for Jim Tunney today. Time remaining in the first quarter. 49ers allowed the opposition touchdowns in only 2 games last year in the first quarter. The Lions in the opening game and the Steelers in the one game they lost.
Offside defense, 5 yards, no first down.
Still first down as we take a look at other scores from around the league.
Tampa Bay under brand new head coach Lehman Bennett over the Bears. Kansas City 10-0 over New Orleans in the first quarter.
And Miami over Houston 10-0, but as we told you, Dan Marino was taken out of the game with an injury. First down and 15 following that 5-yard penalty, and the ball is at the 47-yard line of the Vikings. Matt Cavanaugh is in for Joe Montana, who trying to run for a first down and successful at that. Injured his ankle, but the report is that Montana will be back.
Montana is up on the sidelines, and he's standing next to Bill Walsh, and he's been wagging the signals into Cavanaugh. So obviously he's well enough to come back, but Walsh is going to stay with Cavanaugh.
Montana 5 for 8 for 37 yards when he was in there. Clock running, 2:15 to go in the first quarter. Cavanaugh. And it's almost intercepted by Joey Browner, and he would have been off to the races. Jerry Rice was the intended receiver, and the pass was simply too short.
He had one taken away by a penalty, but this is just great coverage by Browner. Watch it here. Watch him make the move as the ball's in the air on Rice, cuts in front, and he's got nothing but artificial turf in front of him and can only blame himself.
So Browner had an interception called back, as you said, on a penalty, and one that was simply his own undoing. So it's 2nd and 15, the 11th play coming on this drive for San Francisco. Cavanaugh straight back. Pumps once. No 49er receiver down there. Solomon was the closest, and that was way overthrown, and the Vikings had good coverage, and wide open on the other side was
Earl Cooper ran a short slant across the middle and was wide open. Cavanaugh didn't see him and just really threw that ball away. He looked down, and Solomon was well covered and just airmailed it past everyone.
Make it 3rd down and 15 at the 47-yard line, and Dwight Clark comes back in the ball game along with Russ Francis and Wendell Tyler, the running back. The 49ers have trounced the Vikings the last 2 years, and they have scored 99 points in doing it the last 2 games against these teams, leading 7-0. Wendell Tyler in motion. 3rd and 15. Pass on a bounce. Roger Craig, the intended receiver. It'll be 4th down, and Max Runager will come in to kick.
Not a good throw, but it was well covered anyway by the Vikings.
So Max Runager will be kicking to Darren Nelson. He's always a threat to break one, back of the 10-yard line. Runager had a 41.8 average in his first year with the 49ers. Looking, and he gets it inside the 15-yard line. Timeout. When we come back, Vikings will take over on offense. When you win, you don't need many changes. When you lose, you need a whole bunch.
Part of what Bud Grant was talking about, he said, I really do have 16 guys running in all directions before this game, worrying about how to get the telephone hooked up, where I'm going to eat, where I'm going to get a place to live. And look at the other side, just 4 new faces.
One of the new faces for the Vikings is Anthony Carter, who averaged 50 catches and 9 touchdowns in his 3 years at the USFL. And he's got a lot to prove coming into the NFL.
He said, hey, it's the 3rd time I've had to prove myself in college, in the USFL, and now once again here in the National Football League. He said, I can do it.
He's caught 1 pass today for 15 yards. 1st and 10 for the Vikings on the 16 with 1:47 showing on the clock. First quarter. Darren Nelson moving. Kramer. Incomplete. He was going to his tight end, Steve Jordan. Just a bad pass there, and Eric Wright and Mike Walter were covering.
part of that scheme we talked about at the start of the game, throwing underneath a little bit on the 49ers and being conservative and not try to get a whole lot at one time. Says he thinks that you can, once in a while after you establish that, get downfield on the 49ers, because once in a while their secondary will take some chances.
Interesting that the quarterbacks that he empathizes with in the league are people like Lynn Dickey and Ken Anderson, quarterbacks who have taken a beating in their careers.
Get knocked down and get back up.
He knows what that's like. 2nd and 10. Darren Nelson trying to go wide. He gets past Ronnie Lott. Todd Shell knocks him out of bounds. Ronnie Lott was storming in, and Nelson avoided that hit.
Excellent defense over on that side. Lott just didn't secure the tackle, but he was up in good shape and had a lot of help from number 90 Shell, who strung the play out and prevented them from getting around the corner. Probably the top hitter at cornerback in the game right there, number 42.
Bud Grant could use a few like Ronnie Lott. 3rd down and 10. Mike Jones, number 89, is in as the 3rd wide receiver for the Vikings, along with Anthony Carter and Leo Lewis. 6 defensive backs, counting Fuller, of course, for the Niners. Kramer has to get rid of it in a hurry. Anderson hit by guess who? Ronnie Lott, who shows the kind of physical impact he has in the secondary, and the stop is made at the 20-yard line, and it'll be 4th down. 5-yard pickup, and now Greg Coleman will come in to kick. Coleman's been around a long time with the Vikings, and Bud Grant has liked him. He says, you know, the punter may have an off year as McLemore goes back, but if generally he's steady, you stick with him. You don't like a lot of changes there. Coleman's kick to the far sideline and goes out of bounds. We have not had many punt returns as the kicks have gone to the sideline. That goes out of bounds at the 37-yard line, and that's where the 49ers take over 1st and 10. Well, don't forget, coming up, the U.S. Open Men's Single Championship. And yesterday, Yvonne Lendl defeated Jimmy Connors, who had sprained an ankle in straight sets, and John McEnroe in a tough one against Mats Wilander.
That was sensational tennis yesterday. The only question is, you know, did that 5-set match take too much out of McEnroe? Lendl had a rather easy time with Jimmy Connors, and we'll see this afternoon.
And we'll also see Joe Montana back in at quarterback for the 49ers with under a minute to go in the 1st quarter. The ball at the 38-yard line. Wendell Tyler goes under and through a few would-be tacklers and picks up 7 yards on that gain up the middle. Scott Studwell making the tackle. So with the 1st quarter coming towards a close, Joe Montana back in there for San Francisco.
We mentioned it was a back problem, but if you just joined us, it wasn't his back that forced him out of this one. He scrambled out and got hit about a yard short of a 1st down and hurt his knee.
Tyler cuts up the middle. 1st down for the Niners. As you can see, Wendell Tyler protecting that ball. He's had a penchant for fumbling, of course, as many good running backs do, and a 1st down at the 46-yard line. An 11-yard pickup and a good block by John Ayers at left guard. You see the clock running down, and the 1st quarter is history here at the Metrodome.
Next Saturday, Notre Dame meets Michigan in the season premiere of college. CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored.
We're back for the start of the 2nd quarter here in the Metrodome in Minneapolis. Dick Stockton and Wayne Walker with the 49ers, who scored 30 or more points in 10 of their regular season games last year, have a 7-0 lead. They doubled the Vikings' effort in total yardage, but the key was the turnover, the fumble early, that resulted in a touchdown by Roger Craig. 1st and 10 for the Niners at the Minnesota 45. Here's Craig off the left side, turns the corner, and is ridden out of bounds close to a 1st down. Keith Nord defending.
A counter play here. Watch Roger Craig in the backfield take a counter step and then watch from the other side. The 2 guards. There comes Sponhorst to tackle. Randy Cross, the guard, gets a good turnaround block, and Craig bounces it out. That's a play that a lot of teams are running now. Washington, I think, popularized it with Joe Jacoby to tackle, pulling around, and a lot of teams are using that one now.
We're going to have a measurement to see whether Craig got the 1st down, and while we do, let's bring you up to date on scores in this 1st week of the '85 season. Steelers lead the Indianapolis Colts 14-3. They're in the second quarter. The Cardinals, who have high hopes this year, leading the Browns in the first quarter in Cleveland.
Seattle and Cincinnati 7-7. That game's in the second quarter. And New England over Green Bay 10-0. Seems like the Packers always start off slow.
They finished hot last year. Vikings defense much crisper than they were in any game last year, Wayne. We can see the effects of Bud Grant as we look at other scores.
Well, that's what the 49er coaches said to a man. You could just tell that the intensity level of the Vikings is up so much more than it was last year. The backs are blocking. They're all hustling and hitting and playing team defense.
Second down and 1. They missed the first down by just a bit, and Roger Craig has it and more. Keith Nord had him from behind. Fumble, and it's recovered by Minnesota. Rufus Best picked it up. Craig had the first down.
He lost the ball right at the end of his run. A great job up front by Quillen and Ayers, and Cross just popping through on this little short trap. He's untouched. It's a good hit right there, and then they're pulling at the ball. Rufus Best just reaches in and takes it away from Roger Craig.
Bud Grant said we got to force things to happen. They did there. And Bill Walsh and all coaches have to be frustrated on fumbles. A fumble cost the Vikings 7 points early in the ball game, and now Minnesota back on offense on their own 23. First and 10. Opening minute of the second quarter. In motion is Anderson. And here is Darren Nelson. He got a late start from deep in the backfield, and Todd Shell and Ricky Ellison had plenty of time to penetrate. He's had several knee operations, and if you look at him at practice, you wonder how he could play at all, but he does.
He says that's all history, though. It happened in college in the early part of his career at USC, and that's one of the reasons that he probably wasn't drafted higher than he was. He plays like a first or second round draft choice, and then 49ers got him, I think, on the 5th round. He would have been drafted a lot higher had he not had college knee problems.
He has started all but one game in his 3-year career at San Francisco. Second down and 9 after the 1-yard pickup by Nelson. Kramer flushed out of the pocket, in trouble, and he's down. Gary Johnson, big hands, and a penalty marker is thrown back at the 30-yard line. First sack of the year for the 49ers. And the penalty, holding against the 49ers. That should be an automatic first down.
Doesn't like the mistakes that are starting to mount up. No question.
Holding, 42, defense, measured from the line of scrimmage, 5 yards, first down.
Ronnie Lott, and that's the 4th penalty against the 49ers. That's too many as far as Bill Walsh is concerned at this point. Ronnie Lott. Automatic first down for the Vikings, just shy of the 30-yard line. Trailing San Francisco 7-0. Roger Craig, 31 seconds into the game, with a 10-yard touchdown run following a fumble. Other than that, the Vikings have played the vaunted Niners even. The pitch to Darren Nelson with Anderson blocking in front. And he's hit hard at the 35-yard line. Gain of 6, Fred Dean making the tackle. Darren Nelson says, well, I won't run over people. Everyone knows that. And furthermore, I don't want to.
Don't want to. He got a good block that time from the tight end. When you get somebody around the corner, it normally means that the tight end made an excellent block. And Steve Jordan that time on Todd Shell had him downfield about 6 yards.
Second down and 4 with the capacity crowd of 62,000 at the Metrodome. Welcoming Bud Grant back and perhaps a new look Viking team. Ball at the 35. Anderson in motion. Inside handoff to Darren Nelson. He picks up a couple. It'll be third down and short yardage. Carlton Williamson and Dwayne Board there.
Darren Nelson, we talked to Darren about Bill Walsh recruiting him at Stanford, and I said, well, what did you think of Bill, when he was recruiting you? And he said, I didn't talk to him that much. It was Dennis Green I was talking to, one of the assistants, who's now the head coach at Northwestern.
Nelson has carried 8 times for 21 yards. And the Vikings now with a 3rd and 2 on their own 37-yard line. Mike Jones goes in motion the other way. Kramer on 3rd down, fires, caught, should be a first down at the 41-yard line. And it's Mike Jones in his 3rd year who caught 38 passes last year. Ronnie Lott made the tackle, but not before Kramer has a first down.
Well, that's the job that the offensive line is doing. There's a stunt by the 49ers over on the left, and they pick it up and give Kramer plenty of time. See, look at that alley he has to throw through. There's not a hand up, nothing going on in front of him. So it was an easy read for him to wait for Mike Jones to make his turn and get that first down.
That's the 4th first down of the game for the Vikings. Possession on their own 41-yard line. Leo Lewis wide to the right. Anthony Carter comes out left. 11.5 minutes to go in the first half. Anderson in motion. Here come the Niners. Williamson misses a blitz. And here's Darren Nelson scampering his way to the 45. Gain of 4. Mike Walter and Jim Stuckey brought him down then.
Not sure that it was a safety blitz, Dick. I just think that Carlton Williamson read the run right away from looking at films and scouting reports and got up and basically overran it a little bit. Darren Nelson gives him a real good move. And then another one to Ricky Ellison there.
Meanwhile, on the 49ers sideline, Roger Craig is being worked on with an ice pack. 2nd down and 6. The 45-yard line. 7-0 San Francisco. Much closer than most people figured. Play action pass. Kramer going outside to Anderson. Dangerous passing attempt. Tina Turner defending. But right now, let's check in with Brent Musburger in New York.
Dick, we've got an ambush in Soldier Field. Steve DeBerg has thrown 3 touchdown passes. Beautiful play fake there. Hits Jerry Bell, and the Buccaneers lead the Bears 21-7. Let's go back to Dick and Wayne.
You know, I'm sure Steve DeBerg has read all about Steve Young maybe coming over to Tampa Bay. He wants to keep that job.
Steve DeBerg got his early schooling in the Bill Walsh system here, too. It's not going to hurt any quarterback.
3rd down and 6 at the 45 for the Vikings. Mike Jones in motion. Kramer. Leo Lewis, the intended receiver. Covering was Dana McLemore. And good pressure put on Tommy Kramer. Gary Johnson really took off on Tommy Kramer.
Big Hands Johnson, who specializes from rushing the passer from the tackle spot. A little bit late. You know, the coaches around the league are starting to question if this is a little bit about this. You know, call him off a little bit sooner.
Former San Diego Charger, Big Hands Johnson. It's 4th down, and Greg Coleman will kick. McLemore is back for San Francisco. The kick is low. Once again heading over to the sidelines and going out of bounds. We have 10.5 minutes remaining in the first half. The 49ers lead, and they'll have the ball when we come back. Game of the year, Wayne. With their crisp execution on offense yet.
Been disrupted a little bit. Number one, the injury to Montana. Kavanaugh came in, and now he's back out and Montana in, so they really haven't had a chance to get the fluid feel with either of those quarterbacks. Had a good drive going last time, but Rufus Best has made a great play taking that ball away from Roger Craig.
Interesting to see whether the 49ers use some of their trick plays at some point in the game. On a bootleg, going out is Montana looking for receivers. Can't find any. And he is down. Neil Elshire made sure Montana was put down. Good defensive coverage in the secondary by the Vikings.
Excellent that time, because they faked a toss the other way and bootleg by Montana. I think he wanted Dwight Clark on a sideline pattern, and he was covered, and Montana was surrounded.
Call of 2-yard gain, 2nd down and 8. Wendell Tyler, you see there, coming off his best season with a team record 1,260 yards. Has not carried much so far in this game. Roger Craig has been the workhorse. Bill Ring is in there in the fullback spot along with Wendell Tyler. Here's Tyler. John Ayers blocking. Tyler is hit at the 35-yard line. Scott Studwell, a good, aggressive inside linebacker, and it'll be 3rd and short for San Francisco.
Studwell has led this team in tackles, I think, about the last 5 years or so. Probably even more than that. He broke all of Dick Butkus's tackle records at Illinois his senior year, and he wasn't drafted very high either because he was a defensive tackle at one time at Illinois and weighed 260, and when the pro scouts timed him in the 40, he was coming down from that 260 weight to a linebacker weight.
He said the attitude has been a complete swing and was at an all-time low last year. He's happier. Wendell Tyler may have the first down, and he does at the 38-yard line. Joey Browner making the stop.
49er coaches will tell you that Wendell Tyler is a better inside runner than he is outside. The reason being he gets not only to the hole quicker than most backs in the league, but he gets to the linebackers quicker than most backs in the league. And the linebackers don't have time to come off their blocks by the time Wendell's by them. Now, that'll happen a lot to defensive linemen. They can't get off the block, but it doesn't happen a lot when a back is so quick that the linebackers are still tied up and he's going by.
He's averaged just about 5 yards a carry so far, and he led the team at a 5.1 clip last year. First and 10 for San Francisco at the 38. And here is a play-action pass. Freddie Solomon out of bounds. The pass was high. Rufus Best covering. Second down and 10. Clock showing 8:37 remaining in the first half.
Rufus Best, number 21, who was a new starter this year for the Vikings, having a sensational game, and he was one of the people that the 49ers didn't know anything about coming into this game. I know they said, you know, we've been trying to look for a film of Rufus Best playing cornerback. We've gone back over film after film after film and can't find it, but they're finding out a lot about him this afternoon.
He is in his 7th year. The 4 defensive starters, Fred McNeil, who you know played linebacker for many years, Charlie Johnson, the nose tackle, and of course Tommy Hannon and John Swain in the secondary. Long. Ganging up on Wendell Tyler at the 41-yard line is Mark Mullaney at 32 years old. Injuries affected his play the last couple of years. It'll be third down and about 7 or 8 now for the 49ers. There's Mark Mullaney.
He's just held he was a number 1 draft choice in 75, and as you mentioned, Dick, just had 6 starts last year because of injury. Been a regular since 1979 up here in Minnesota.
They've got some new faces up there. Tim Newton, a nose tackle, a 6th-round pick. Keith Millard, who came back from the USFL, number 1 choice 2 years ago. Third down and 7 at the 41. Montana up the middle, caught by Jerry Rice. First down in Viking territory at the 47-yard line. Carl Lee making the stop, and Jerry Rice with that 12-yard play shows he can catch in a crowd.
He'll catch it over the middle. He said, you know, his biggest adjustment has been reading defenses. Remember when he told us yesterday that the most important thing he wanted to do when he came to training camp was catch Joe Montana's first pass. He said, if I drop the first ball that Montana throws me in training camp, he's not going to have any confidence in me. But he's got it now, and he caught that one also.
And he's got the hugest hands you'll ever see for a receiver. First and 10 at the 47. Here's a reverse, maybe a pass. Rice throws. He was gone for the tight end, and a flag is down.
And they're going to call Studwell for getting Francis too soon.
One of the trick plays in the grab bag for the 49ers, Jerry Rice, who did play quarterback at Mississippi Valley State. Studwell all over Russ Francis. On the reverse option, and the penalty against the Vikings will give the 49ers a first down, although they didn't get a lot of yards on that play.
Well, Studwell just read it too well that time. He was just too much all over that play, if there's such a thing.
Not only can Rice throw, we know about Freddie Solomon, was a quarterback at Tampa.
Defensive pass interference, spot of the foul, first down.
Take a peek at it. Now it's going to be handoff there, reverse, and then throw. They're looking for Francis, the tight end, but Studwell's got him like another jacket and hit him before the ball got there.
In essence, Wayne, it's a 1-yard penalty.
Yeah.
Still first and 10, of course, at the Viking 46. 7-0 San Francisco. Tyler with Ayers blocking. Slices off the left side. Studwell, with help from Willie Teal, make the tackle, and they carry the ball to the 44-yard line of the Vikes. Wendell Tyler.
Studwell over there again on that play, and placing the 10th player. Look at those eyes, and you look over on the other side at Ricky Ellison, and he's got that same kind of intensity. There's something burning back in there. In that game last year where San Francisco beat the Vikings 51-7, Scott Studwell did not quit. He made 20 tackles in that game. He was in on 20 stops.
Team record, too. Second and 8. Craig goes in motion. Penalty marker down. Wendell Tyler is hit. Stopped at the 41 by Matt Blair, but another flag is down in what has been a penalty-filled first half here in Minneapolis. It's against San Francisco, and they've been hit more often than the Vikings. Russ Francis, the tight end. .6:27 remaining in the first half, as Jim Tunney will tell us.
Offside, offense, 81, 5 yards, still second down.
Bottom of your screen here, well, Russ Francis just about a half second too quick on the snap count. He's into the linebacker before the ball is snapped.
9 penalties so far in the game. Second down and 12. 49ers working at the Viking 48. Joe Montana, who was sidelined with his ankle injury briefly, is back. Intercepted. Mark Mullaney. He may go all the way. And there's a penalty marker down at about the 34-yard line. I don't know whether the Viking fans have seen it yet.
Dick, there was a block thrown over there on Montana by Neil Elshire, number 73, and from here it looked like a pretty good block.
The interception should stand in any event. A clip against the Vikings, but it'll be Minnesota ball. It's after the interception.
Mullaney will be to the right of your screen, number 77 right there. He can't get in. A good job by John Ayers, so he does next best thing. He puts his hands up, and the ball glues to him. Intended out there for Clark. Now, watch the run. See, look at the left. There's Montana. There's the block by Elshire, but actually Montana turned his body into it. Elshire was in pretty good shape. It was a good smart play by Montana.
Neil Elshire.
Watch it here now. Elshire works around and is in pretty good shape on Montana. As soon as Joe feels contact, well, look him turn his body and go down on the block backwards. I don't know whether he did that out of reflex, or if he didn't, it was some of the smartest thinking he's ever done, especially on defense.
The Vikings have the ball. Mark Mullaney has been in the league now 11 years. That's his first NFL interception. It's 1st and 10 for Minnesota on the 49er 48-yard line with under 6 minutes to go. Kramer, with his team trailing 7-0, is tripped up by Keena Turner at midfield. Otherwise, he would have had a bunt. It is much cooler on the field than it would be higher up here at the Metrodome. It is not a hot, close stadium. However, the 49ers are looking for oxygen there.
With all the people in the stadium, it's going to continue to get warmer down there on the field. You know, they tell you ideally in these dome stadiums that it's going to stay 72 degrees. Believe me, it gets a lot warmer than that down there.
Second down and 9 at the 47. The Vikings' farthest advance has been to the 49er 42-yard line. There's a draw play. And Alan Rice, with his first carry, is trapped backwards at their own 49-yard line. Keena Turner and Ricky Ellison right there for the play.
Keena Turner, who last year became, I think, rightly known as one of the best outside linebackers in pro football, makes this play on a blitz, quickness through, makes the stop. Voted by his teammates in a poll taken by one of the Bay Area newspapers as the best athlete on the team.
He says, I lose in golf, lose in tennis, lose in table tennis. What kind of criteria do they use? But he is. Third down and 12. Back at midfield from the shotgun, Kramer finds an open man, Ted Brown, but he is covered up in a hurry, and it'll be 4th down, and the Vikings will have to kick it away as the touchdown by Mullaney on his first NFL interception was nullified on a penalty, and the Vikings can't make it work. Dwight Hicks and Jeff Fuller in on the stop. Coleman will be kicking to McLemore. 4:25 and the clock running remaining in the first half. 7-0, the 49ers lead on an early 10-yard run by Roger Craig.
Coleman will run out of punt formation, but the 49ers are aware of it.
Once again, going for the sideline. There'll be no return as the ball takes a bounce. And the Vikings can't keep it On the field of play, it looked like it was going out of bounds, but it goes into the end zone for a touchback and will return to Minneapolis. Have the lead, but we very nearly had a tie game, nullified because of this.
This was the interception by Mark Mullaney. Will follow Montana all the way through it on this replay. He throws it, Mullaney's up, bats it, and then controls it. Montana's the only man that can make a play on him. But watch Elshire, number 73, come around, work around to Montana. Looks like he gets a pretty good block to me, but they called it a clip. And I think that when he initially made contact on Montana, he was around in front, but Joe fell down on him backwards, and the officials perhaps just saw the end of it.
First and 10 at the 20 for the 49ers, who have had just 10 plays ended by a fumble and an interception. In this quarter, Roger Craig carries it out to the 24-yard line. A rookie nose tackle in there for the Vikings, a 6th-round draft pick from Florida named Tim Newton. He is listed at 300 pounds.
And they think a lot of him, Dick, because they cut a veteran by the name of Charlie Johnson, who came here and played good football for him for several years after being on Philadelphia's Super Bowl team. And this young man here has got a world of ability. He's looked like one of those guys you'd stamp out and make a nose tackle.
Gain of 4 at the 24-yard line with less than 3.5 minutes to go in the first half. Montana to Clark. He's got it. First down, out of bounds, ridden out by Willie Teal, just about shy of the 40-yard line. 16-yard gain by Dwight Clark. Kansas City putting it on the New Orleans Saints to a 20-3 tune in the second quarter at the Superdome. In other games, St. Louis and Cleveland are 7-3 in the second quarter. Gary Danielson starting for the Browns. Seattle up ahead of Cincinnati. And Atlanta and Detroit are all tied up. Green Bay coming back, as is Houston. First and 10 at the 40. Tyler with Randy Cross blocking. And coming in is Joey Browner with a terrific hit.
Joey Browner was their #1 draft choice back in '83. That was the first time that the Minnesota Vikings had ever picked a defensive back as their #1 selection, and he's bounced around a little bit. Play him at corner, played him some at safety. Now they've got him at strong safety, and they really think that athletic ability and skills, he's just about as good as they have on the squad, and he's going to be a good one.
Second down and 7. He's been moved around so many places last year, and that hurt him as Wendell Tyler goes out of the ball game, and Derek Harmon, who was a find as a #9 draft pick from Cornell last year, in the backfield with Roger Craig. Montana straight back, has Harmon, who drops the ball. Best was covering, and Derek Harmon was there, just couldn't hold on.
There's number 21, Rufus Bess, who we told you about earlier, having a fine ball game.
An overachiever who led the Vikings with 3 interceptions last year, taking the place of John Swain, who was picked up by the Miami Dolphins.
Had previous time with the Raiders and the Buffalo Bills.
Third down and 7 at the 43. Tyler back in. Harmon goes out. Craig in motion. Going up top for Dwight Clark. And Montana can't hit him. He was covered by Carl Lee. And it's 4th down. But most of the 49er receivers have beaten the defenders today, including this man here.
Look at the long strider right here. Now, here's a guy that's 6'4", 215 pounds, and can still get deep. You know, he creates the myth that he doesn't have deep speed, but you put him down and time him in those 40s, and he's as fast as most. And the thing is, the longer the game goes, the stronger he gets, it seems.
Max Runeker kicking. Darren Nelson will look at this ball sail away into the end zone for a touchback. Well, the Vikings have gained only 66 yards in total offense, and they'll see what they can do with 2 minutes and 13 seconds remaining in the first half. A surprising defensive skirmish between these two teams, with the 49ers leading 7-0. The Vikings' best offense, really, Wayne, has been their defense. Mullaney's interception for a TD nullified. Joey Browner dropped what looked to be a sure touchdown with an interception.
Right, they've had a couple of chances to be ahead in this ball game.
Coming up at halftime, Brent Musburger along with Herb Cross. Each team has the full complement of 3 timeouts remaining. Ball at the 20. Alan Rice and Alfred Anderson in the backfield. Anderson in motion. Fake on a reverse. Kramer has the pass batted up in the air by Michael Carter. who has been hampered with a hamstring and did not start the game, but he was all over Kramer there.
Michael Carter was probably the star of the 49ers preseason training camp in Rockland, at their training camp. Silver medalist, of course, in the Olympics last year in the shot put, and he just stormed through everybody this year. Coming in right there, Fred Quill in the center lost about 5 jerseys during the course of training camp because Michael Carter was ripping him off him every day.
The kind of nose tackle you want. 2nd down and 10. Kramer 4 of 12 for only 28 yards. Downfield. Incomplete. Ronnie Lott covering Anthony Carter and helps him up. Thanks, load, says Anthony. Huh? Tommy Kramer, who understands Bud Grant's system. He's not a real good deep thrower, but he's accurate short. And a long time ago, when the Vikings were healthy and the 49ers were not a powerhouse, he once threw 4 touchdown passes against San Francisco. That was back in 1979.
I think he's had 4 touchdown passes in a game 7 times in his career, so he can get the job done.
3rd and 10. 2:01 to go, so we'll have our 2-minute warning following this play. Kramer pumps, fires, and Anthony Carter unable to hold on to it despite the outstretched arm. Dana McLemore is covering. Our 2-minute warning. It'll be 4th down and we'll return. 7-0 our score. Greg Coleman will be kicking first before the Niners get the ball to Dana McLemore. And McLemore will try to give the Niners good field position. 1:56 showing on the clock. We've had our 2-minute warning. Niners coming in strong on Coleman. No flag thrown and a fair catch called for by McLemore at the 48-yard line. Coleman went down and the official looked at it closely. A 32-yard punt, but no penalty, and so the 49ers will have good field position.
Let's watch it here. Kind of funny because if a kicker goes down without getting hit, it's an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on him. So he had to feel there was contact on him.
He was ducking, it looked like.
Yeah.
Ducking from the onslaught. Greg Coleman. 1st and 10 for the 49ers. They are at their own 48-yard line. 1:49 on the clock and 3 timeouts to work with. Wendell Tyler in motion. Pitch to Roger Craig. Craig gets good yardage. And Craig has a 1st down and still going as he finally is stopped at the 38-yard line by Willie Teal. A 15-yard gain by Roger Craig, and Bubba Paris, who was beaten badly in preseason, with a good block.
They use the Wendell Tyler a lot as a blocker out in front. Of course, we got John Ayers out there too, and Bubba Paris 77 gets an excellent block on Matt Blair. But Tyler's downfield. You saw him bumping around with number 37, Teal, the cornerback, and that sprung Roger Craig.
He has gained 55 yards and scored a touchdown. 6 carries in his first half. Ball at the Viking 37. Here's Tyler's turn. Gets a hole, and Wendell Tyler breaks a couple and has perhaps another 1st down at the 27-yard line. It'll be close. Carl Lee coming up from the secondary to make the stop.
I'll tell you, turnabout is fair play. Just check the block here by Roger Craig on Matt Blair again to this side. Here's the pulling guards, but watch number 33 take a cut right there and watch 59 Blair go down as Tyler set them all up, and the 49ers are in business.
And they call a timeout. We'll be back. Trying to add to their lead, have a 1st and 10 on the Viking 26 with that much time remaining. They've used one of their 3 remaining timeouts. They have Freddie Solomon and Dwight Clark at wide receiver as Bill Walsh watches his offense on the sideline. Tyler inside. Bust through close to the 20-yard line. Doug Martin and Mark Mullaney make the tackle. Clock continues to run. 49ers perhaps called 2 plays in that last timeout. Solomon in motion. Quick toss. Tyler has it inside the 10. Fumble. We'll wait for the official call. Minnesota.
That's Solomon in motion, and Tyler's out of the backfield running a little circle pattern. Montana dumps it to him. 21 comes over. My goodness, that's Rufus Bess again, who comes over, gets a hand in there, and knocks the ball loose.
They won't have to look for film on Rufus Bess anymore after this game. That is the third turnover by the 49ers. One interception that was returned for a touchdown but nullified, and two fumbles, one each by Roger Craig and Wendell Tyler. So with 58 seconds to go, the Vikings 1st and 10 on their 7-yard line. Who would have thought with the inexperience against the defending champs it would be 3-1 turnovers in favor of Minnesota. Alfred Anderson slices off the right side, and he drives. Jeff Fuller back. Carlton Williamson also there. And now the Vikings, let's see now, the 49ers are calling a timeout. They have visions of getting the ball back still, and that will leave them with only one. One timeout left for the 49ers. It'll be 2nd down and 5 for the Minnesota Vikings, who have played spirited football, though they have not really shown much offensively in this first half, but they trail only 7-0.
But Dick, there's been a lot of emotion floating around here for the last couple days, because this is the silver anniversary season for the Minnesota Vikings. 25 years for the franchise, and on this weekend, you know, they brought back they picked a silver anniversary team, guys like Fran Tarkenton and Bill Brown and Ron Yeri, and brought them back. They had a big banquet last night, and the team showed up, and that silver anniversary team was there. Bud Grant got up and talked to everyone, and they said that he got very emotional, and I'm quite sure that it meant a lot to these players. And in the stadium, you know, they were buzzing today to have those guys back, and they're also buzzing to have Bud Grant back again.
You know, Bud Grant, of course, saw that silver anniversary team that had a lot of what he calls purple players. Those were the players that were a step above blue chip. And the other day we were talking with him, you see any potential purple players amongst his group. He says, really, we don't have any people that are prepared to make an impact right now. Maybe they will by the end of the year, but I don't see any real blue chippers in the group that the Vikings have brought in amongst their 16 new faces. By the way, Joey Browner got credit for the fumble recovery, although Rufus Bess was all over the ball as well. So one timeout left for the 49ers, 2nd and 5 for the Vikings. That much time remaining in the half. Anderson from behind, Manu Tuiasosopo. And another timeout called by the 49ers, and they have used all 3 of theirs, so they're out of timeout. Next week on the NFL, the 2nd week of the year, it'll be earlier today. This was the introduction of Fran Tarkenton.
72 for 1978, Fran Tarkenton.
Hey, Dick, I played against most of those guys. There's Bill Brown right there next to him, the fullback. Chuck Foreman. Stu Voigt, the tight end. Mick Tingelhoff, Milt Sunday. Carl Kasulke, whose career was shortened and ended by a motorcycle accident in the wheelchair. A bunch of great guys. It was good to see him.
3rd down and 2. Lone back is Alfred Anderson with 43 seconds remaining. Anderson going wide. Close. Dana McLemore and Jeff Fuller came over. And let's see whether Anderson has it. Apparently he's short, and it'll be the Vikings coming in to kick it away. And so with 36 seconds to go, the 49ers will get the ball again, but they'll be out of timeout.
And keep in mind that they came very close to blocking the last punt by Coleman, and you just got to feel with only Dana McLemore back there that they're going to put the pressure on him again and try to come up with something quick before halftime.
Anderson actually went out of bounds to stop the clock to help the 49ers. Wasn't intentional, of course, but that's the way it works. Coleman gets it away, and it sails back to the 30-yard line. McLemore weaves his way to the 43-yard line, where Tim Amber, a rookie linebacker, makes the stop. A 51-yard punt by Coleman, and the Vikings couldn't ask for it at a better time.
No,
and with 24 seconds.
A great pressure kick by Coleman that time. And he didn't have a great snap, too. The snap was a little bit low.
Coming up at half, Brent Irv and Jack Youngblood, the great defensive end for the LA Rams. Scores and highlights. Preview of the Lendl McEnroe duel for the U.S. Open Championship coming up later today. 1st and 10 at the 42-yard line. 3 wide receivers to the left for Joe Montana, but he's going to Freddie Solomon's side, and Solomon can't make the play. He is out of bounds. Rufus Best covering that side, and 19 seconds now remain. Total yardage in the ball game, 213 for San Francisco, only 75 for Minnesota. So the Vikings appear to be fortunate that they trail right now by only 7 points. 2nd down and 10. Keep in mind the 49ers have used up their 3 timeouts. Again, 3 wide receivers to the left. Montana looking that way, and down he goes. Keith Millard and Doug Martin. That's Millard, a fierce pass rusher from the USFL.
It's going to make him feel good, too, because he grew up in the Bay Area. He says his family, 49er fans. He's working against Bubba Paris over on the right. This is just good coverage downfield, and Montana really starts out of the pocket and runs into Millard. You can't blame that sack on Paris.
They're going to let the clock run down. And that's the end of the first half. 62,000 in Minnesota seeing Bud Grant return after a 1-year hiatus as head coach. See the Vikings play the 49ers tough, and the defending champion run off the field leading only 7-0 at halftime against the 3-13 Vikings of a year ago. Certainly a surprising score without question.
CBS Sports Football League is sponsored by
Player for the Vikings in the Pro Bowl. That's one of the things they haven't gotten recently in their down days. They hope to regain that. But Stenerud, who had a terrific year, will be kicking off. First time he's been on the field, and deep for the 49ers is Dana McLemore and Derek Harmon. Harmon to the left, McLemore to the right, as we begin the second half here in Minneapolis. Seven to nothing San Francisco. Bud Grant returns. This is his 18th year as head coach. Les Steckel was the coach last year. In a sea of turmoil, a lot of injuries in his defense, but things just didn't work out. And Bud is back. And we're underway in the second half. Kicking over to Derek Harmon's side is Stenerud at the 8. Harmon brings it back to the 32-yard line, where the tackle is made by Jay Carroll, a tight end who played at the University of Minnesota and came over from Tampa Bay. Craig and Tyler each have gained 55 yards on the ground today.
Craig on 6 carries and Tyler on 10, and of course Craig with the only score.
They spot the ball at the 31, 1st and 10, and those 2 are in the backfield. Jerry Rice starts the second half, wide receiver to the right. Swing pass is thrown behind Craig, incomplete.
We questioned whether there might be a timing problem with Joe Montana after missing the last 2 preseason games and not taking any practice time. I mean, he just only practiced the 5 days prior to this game, and he said, I don't think it will. Maybe at the start, you know, it might bother me, but I threw well in practice. And anyway, he's the kind of guy that if he does get off to a bad start, it doesn't bother him much.
So it's second down on the 31. Rice winds up. Top of your screen, here's Wendell Tyler with Randy Cross blocking, and Tyler brings it out to the 36-yard line. A gain of 5. It'll be 3rd and 5. Mark Mullaney with help from Chris Martin, the right outside linebacker, making the stop for Minnesota.
And those are the kinds of things I'm talking about the physical dominance of the 49ers with plays like that.
3rd down and 5. Dennis Johnson comes out in the middle. Nickel backs are in for the Vikings. Russ Francis goes out. Jerry Rice to the bottom of your screen. Dwight Clark to the top. 3rd and 5 at the 36. An audible called by Joe Montana. Montana going up top for Clark. He's got it. And a first down. At the 35-yard line, Ted Rosnagel, one of the nickelbacks, knocks him out of bounds, and a gain of 29 yards.
There's Clark now. That's Willie Teal with the bump and run, but it's not really bump and run. He's just playing a short zone. Going to turn him over to Rossnagel, the safety, who doesn't get to the corner. That's tough for that safety to cover that deep outside, and Rossnagel couldn't get there.
Dwight Clark has gone over 5,000 career yards in reception. This is the first time last year since 1980 that Dwight Clark did not lead the 49ers in receiving. But a big gainer there. First and 10 at the 35 with a pitch to Roger Craig off the left side, and he is hammered down at the 30-yard line. Tackle there made by Chris Martin with help from Willie Teal.
Double tight end situation that time, and they toss toward it. They're just almost telling the Vikings what they're doing. They've run that play now 5 or 6 times, and Vikings haven't stopped it yet.
Gain of 5. It'll be 2nd down and 5 as the Vikings are defending against the 49ers drive. It'll be 2nd and 5 at the Minnesota 30. Bill Ring is in at fullback. Dwight Clark returns to the game. Freddie Solomon is wide to the right. Inside handoff to Tyler. Spins his way to the 26-yard line. Shy of a first down. By not much, though. Chris Martin and Mark Mullaney once again on the tackle. Wendell Tyler came over from the Rams, and Mark Mullaney nearly had a touchdown on his first NFL interception in his 11th career in the NFL in the first half. It was nullified, and that was the Vikings' closest opportunity for a score. 3rd down and 1. Tyler, first down. Mullaney gets the first hit, but the 49ers have a 1st and 10 inside the 25-yard line.
But it was a good job of blocking by the San Francisco offensive line. Mullaney did make the hit. Look, he's just kind of watch Fred Quillen, John Ayers right there. Ayers down on him and kind of knocked him off the line and got him raised up before he was able to make the tackle. And that was just a good job coming off the ball by John Ayers.
David Howard, who was acquired in the supplemental draft from the USFL, a linebacker number 54, made sure Tyler wouldn't get more. But it's 1st and 10 for San Francisco on the Vikings 23. Switch in the backfield with Ring and Tyler. Montana throwing, and he's got Dwight Clark out of bounds for about a 5-yard gain, and this is reminiscent of the first Super Bowl championship year when the 49ers used ball control. Instead of running for short yardage, they would pass.
And what's called when you go into halftime and say we're going to get back to basics. 3-step drop here by Montana. That means the pattern's going to be in about the 6-yard range, and that's exactly where Dwight Clark was.
2nd down and 4. Inside handoff, Wendell Tyler with a 1st down to the 10-yard line, slicing off nicely. Scott Studwell makes the tackle, and John Ayers, the left guard, with a nifty block.
But they're just controlling the line of scrimmage now, like we mentioned that they were in the first half, and a lot they thought. Watch the center, Fred Quillen. He gets a good block on Mullaney, number 77. That opens things up. Randy Cross down, getting part of Studwell. And Tyler with plenty of run room, that quick burst up.
He's made a lot of tackles in his career as an inside backer, as you would expect. Derek Harmon is in the lineup now with Roger Craig. On 1st down, Harmon goes nowhere as he's ganged up on the 10-yard line. Keith Millard, among other people. Mark Mullaney there. And the Vikings really closed up the middle on Derek Harmon.
It's after being handled a couple times. Mullaney came back and got excellent penetration.
Vikings defense has been equal to the task in this game. And, of course, they were the architects of the great Bud Grant years. Purple people eaters, as we saw at the very top of our broadcast. 2nd down and 10. Montana rolling out, throwing, fumble. Vikings have it. Freddie Solomon was on the receiving end, and he coughs it up. And that's the 4th turnover of the game by the 49ers. Joey Browner picked it up.
Ground level action right here. Solomon just runs a short out pattern, turns it up, and takes a good hit there again from number 21, Rufus Best. And the ball comes out before Solomon hit the ground, so that's why it was ruled a fumble.
Second fumble recovery by Joey Browner, and Bill Walsh has his headset off. There's Browner. Browner and Bess have played outstanding football for the Vikings today, and there's the turnover story. Shocking, to say the least. So the Vikings have it, 1st and 10 on their own 8-yard line. Darren Nelson breaks loose, and Eric Wright prevents a first down as Nelson is stopped at the 10-yard line, and it could have been a lot worse if he got by Wright.
So that was an artificial turf move that Darren Nelson made. Watch Keena Turner coming in on a blitz. Right there, number 58. He's in good shape. And look at that adjustment right there by Darren Nelson. And only a saver right here by 21 Eric Wright prevents some big yardage.
Give him 3 yards on the play. 2nd and 7. Spot the ball at the 11-yard line. 7-0. 49ers lead under 10 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Here's Nelson. And Nelson brings it out close to the 15-yard line. Gain of about 4. It'll be 3rd down and short yardage. Ricky Ellison and Carlton Williamson make the tackle, and the 49er bench kind of quiet right now. There's Fred Quillen.
Randy Cross back to the left of him. John Ayers, number 68. Bubba Paris.
Bud Grant. Third down and 4. Kramer completes it to Darren Nelson. Close to a first down. He may not have it. See where they spot the ball. Jeff Fuller makes the stop on Darren Nelson, who made a fine catch on the throw by Kramer, who has been struggling through the air today. And this is an important measurement coming up now for the Vikings. And for that matter, the 49ers, to see whether Minnesota will keep possession.
Nelson thought he had it when he got up. We'll see.
He did.
Nelson ran that pattern against Jeff Fuller, number 49, the defensive back who plays kind of a linebacker spot in a nickel situation. Fuller's playing it correctly. You can't let him inside because they'll go forever inside. You got to let him run the out pattern. That's a tougher throw for their quarterback, and you can come up with that kind of play, but it wasn't quite enough.
2 tight ends in there now for the Vikings. Anderson is the lone setback. 1st and 10 at the Viking 18. Anderson on a quick hitter up the middle to the 23-yard line. Fred Dean making the tackle, and a gain of about 5.5 yards. Dean in there on 1st down.
Wants to pull a guard. Watch Dean, number 74. Pull the guard. He reads and comes right on down the line chasing. And that enabled him to make that play.
Because of various injuries, neither Fred Dean or Keena Turner played in the preseason schedule for the 49ers, so this is their first effort. They give Anderson 6 yards, 2nd down and 4. The center is Jim Huff. And here's a fake Statue of Liberty handoff. Darren Nelson around the right side is stopped about 2.5 yards shy of a first down. Todd Shell making the tackle. So we're seeing a little razzle-dazzle from the Viking side.
Todd Shell was there. Ronnie Lott came up. Carlton Williamson was in pretty good shape. It looked good for a while. The Vikings looked like they had something going, but that white shirted defense is so reactive. They got back in pretty good shape on it.
Kind of a Statue of Liberty play, although it was a handoff in front instead of behind as Nelson goes out of the ball game. It'll be 3rd down and 2. Vikings started this drive deep in their own territory after Freddie Solomon fumbled. They're on their own 26 now. Mike Jones in motion. They pass on 3rd and 2, and it's incomplete. They had Jordan, the tight end, short, and Anthony Carter a little deeper. Ronnie Lott was covering Carter, and it'll be 4th down.
Anthony Carter told us he thought it would take until about the 3rd or 4th week of the regular season before he would be in sync with his quarterback, and you could tell that was very apparent that time.
So Greg Coleman is in to punt for the Vikings, and Dana McLemore is back for the 49ers. A former 10th round draft pick out of the University of Hawaii has become valuable return man and a nickel back for the 49ers. Coleman. And McLemore fumbles. Lost the ball. Derek Harmon may be the man back there for the 49ers to prevent real disaster. Joey Browner in to make the stop. He made the hit.
He made a sensational special team play. Joey Browner coming down to coverage from the outside, almost had his hands on the ball. Watching, he won't quit. Derek Harmon is number 24. Browner there again, but it's going to be Harmon and the 49ers.
Was there. You pointed out the special teams play. Shaken up a bit, and Carl Lee, number 39, has come in at strong safety. 1st and 10 back at the 16-yard line. Montana looking to throw deep. Dumps it off to Roger Craig. Craig works his way, fumbles. And the Vikings may have picked it up again. Let's wait. And now the official signal 49er ball. 49ers recovered.
Here it is right here. Play action fake. Hold the linebackers in. Montana looks downfield. Nothing there. Now he starts to break, and Craig reacts to it by bouncing out. Makes a cut in. Gets a block from Randy Cross. Watch the ball. He's down and got possession, and it came out late.
And I think it was Tim Newton, the rookie nose tackle, who caught Craig from behind and forced the fumble.
And I think Bubba Paris was hurt on that play. He's out, which means now I think John Ayers may be playing left offensive tackle.
He is the number 1 backup at tackle, so moves over for guard. We'll check the line for you. The pitch to Roger Craig on 2nd down and 3, fighting his way close to 1st down territory beyond the 25-yard line, and he may have it. Doug Martin and Rufus Best combined to make the tackle, and Martin is gingerly walking back to the huddle.
Martin just has to get his helmet in the way to make a tackle, Dick. That's
How big is that?
One of the biggest hats in the league right there. 8 1/8. He set it down the other day over in practice, and I went and looked in it, and there was a bunk bed and a cook stove in there.
That's all? Bruce Colley, a 5th-round draft pick from Texas Arlington, number 69, is in an offensive line for the 49ers. 3rd down and 1. Wendell Tyler has the 1st down and more as he brings it out to the 35-yard line. Joey Browner back in the game, making the tackle on Tyler, and he has been the big man inside running. He gains 10 yards on that carry.
Now watch how quickly he plants and gets upfield. Cross pulling, play designed to go outside, but look at Wendell looking inside, sees the gap, takes it, and he's by everybody with his quickness.
1,262 yards last year. He has 85 in this game. 1st down for the 49ers at their own 35 with 6:20 remaining in the 3rd quarter. It's still 7-0 49ers. Inside handoff Craig. Scott Studwell from behind making the tackle. The whistle had blown. Right now for an NFL Today report, let's check in with Brent Musburger in New York. Brent?
Dick, here's an interception created at the line of scrimmage by Chicago's Richard Dent. Hand on the ball. Leslie Frazier's got it, and he zips in for the touchdown, and the Bears have pulled back in that contest against Tampa Bay. It is now 28-24. Back to Dick and Wayne.
All right, Brent, Mike Ditka has the Bears coming back against Tampa Bay. Right here it is still 7-0 on that early score. Movement in the line, Keith Millard pointing his finger as he winds up within a step of Joe Montana, and of course the flags fly. May have been drawn offside and appears to be against the 49ers.
False start. False start. Number 69.
That's Bruce Colley. What about Colley, one of the new faces on this team? 49ers.
One of their draft choices, and one of only 2 of their draft choices to make the team as a rookie, and they say he's got everything going for him but experience. He's going to have to be around a while. Believe it or not, he weighs 290 pounds, and you get up next to him and it looks like you could put about 40 more on him and you wouldn't know where it went. Tremendous physical specimen, but he's very young and very inexperienced at this level. Texas Arlington, he played his college football.
2nd down and 13 following the penalty. The ball back at the 32-yard line. Montana trying to get the throwing game unlimbered. Completes it to Roger Craig, who was ridden out of bounds at the 40-yard line by Willie Teal. We talked about how aggressive the 49ers secondary is, but the Vikings secondary doesn't have to take a back seat in that department. Matt Blair also in on the play, but Teal was the first.
Blair, the 12-year veteran who around this place a long time, played during the good years of the Purple Gang and the Purple People Eaters, and definitely the leader on that defensive squad.
Freddie Solomon coming back in on offense for the 49ers is a wide receiver. John Frank, the impressive second-year tight end, also in. 3rd down and 5. Niners at their own 40. Tyler has a first down. Let's see where they spot the ball. He had to get to the 45, and he did. Matt Blair, with help from Keith Nord, making the stop, and we may have a measurement. 5:16 remaining as you see Willie Teal, who is rated the best in the secondary for the Minnesota Vikings, that has undergone some changes this year. 5:16 to go in the 3rd quarter. It remains 7-0 49ers, and that touchdown came early in the game in the 1st minute. They measure, and it looks like an inch or 2, maybe an inch and 3/4.
Decision time over there on that sideline.
The ball at the 44. Bill Walsh said punt it away. Not taking any chances. And Walsh
talking about the way they placed it, I'm sure.
Head linesman hearing what Bill Walsh has to say, and here's Max Runeker in to kick for the 4th time, and Darren Nelson, who's back. He's got Alan Rice back there, along with Keith Nord. High kick, and Nelson at the 15. Goes up in the air and is hit at the 22-yard line. A tackle by Jim Farnhorst with help from Bill Ring, and we'll be back. With just under 5 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter in a surprisingly tight game, want to remind you that we have a whale of a matchup. Welcoming back college football on CBS Sports next Saturday. The season premiere will pit the Notre Dame Fighting Irish against the Wolverines of Michigan.
Alan Pinkett, the great runner for the Fighting Irish, Heisman Trophy candidate, has a way to go on this one. He's going to catch up with Bo Jackson from Auburn yesterday.
1:30 Eastern time. Boy, Jackson really showed something yesterday for the Auburn Tigers. 1st and 10 at the 22. Wide receivers are Buster Rhymes and Mike Jones out to the right. The pitch goes to Alfred Anderson, who gets ground, and he does not gain anything. He is stopped back at the 20-yard line, a loss of 2. Keena Turner and Mike Walter combined to make the play.
Keena Turner made a good play out there as he strung it out, and then the inside backer, the man they called the plugger, Mike Walter, came out and made a good hit, making his debut here as the inside linebacker. Watch this now. Great athlete. He was drafted by Dallas. The 49ers got him last year off the waiver list. And the drills that they run in training camp, the quickness and agility drills, he beat everybody but one player.
He had 8 tackles and a sack in the win against the Vikings last year for the Niners. 2nd down and 12, back at the 20. Kramer looking, gets hit. He was going for Mike Jones, and he was hit hard coming in there. Manu Tuiasosopo, with help from Ricky Ellison, stormed up the middle against Tommy Kramer.
I'll tell you, Tuiasosopo with a good pressure right here. Little game going. Gary Johnson goes down inside, and Manu comes around behind him, and watch Tommy Kramer. He knows he's going to get hit, but he stays in there and plants and throws the ball anyway, and takes that for his efforts.
Tuiasosopo, acquired from Seattle, a real good plugger and a solid nose guard. When they lost Pete Kugler, he came in and filled the bill last year. And of course, now Michael Carter is in the picture.
He can play every position on the line.
3rd down and 12 out of the shotgun. One fake and one throw. Alfred Anderson has got it. A 40-yard strike. Kramer to Alfred Anderson. Cardinal Williamson on the tackle, and a big first down for Minnesota.
Alfred Anderson out of the backfield to the left-hand side. It looks like it was Carlton Williamson trying to run with him, and he just kind of split everybody. That's Jeff Fuller, number 49. Hicks, number 22, over, and here comes Williamson. So it was Fuller who initially had him coming out of the backfield.
It has been a kind of a drought for Tommy Kramer in the passing department today, but he connected on this big 40-yarder Oddly enough, Anderson caught only 9 passes last year. He was the leading rusher for the Vikings. He looked good on that one. 1st and 10 on the 49ers, 39. The pitch to Darren Nelson. Nelson slices inside, still going, and picks up 8 yards to the 32-yard line, where Williamson and Ricky Ellison make the stop. And the Viking fans are alive here. And Nelson appears to be slightly shaken up.
So Alfred Anderson, he just caught that pass. Now watch his block here for Darren Nelson. He goes in motion across the screen. There's the toss. Now watch number 46 work on Keena Turner, one of the good ones, and get Darren Nelson by.
Here's how Nelson was shaken up and goes to the sideline. He's replaced by Alan Rice. 2nd down and 2 at the San Francisco 31, and Alan Rice has a 1st down. Storms his way to the 25. Mike Walter on the tackle, and Rice used mostly his special teams in his 2nd year from Baylor. Had a good block from Terry Tausch, the right guard.
Good block by Tausch. Now the Minnesota offensive line loves what they're doing out there right now, running the ball and mixing in a pass every once in a while. They're fired up and coming off the ball extremely well.
Concern on the 49ers sideline, especially number 16. Winding down the 2 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter, 7-0 San Francisco. The Vikings are threatening. Play action. Kramer going to the left side to Leo Lewis, and Lewis makes the catch.
Sensational. Leo Lewis against Eric Wright, one of the best cover men in the league. Kramer threw a wobbler, but it was effective. It got there, and Lewis made a great adjustment.
You think this man's concerned? Leo Lewis, who led the Vikings with 47 receptions last year. The Vikings, who hadn't gotten beyond the 42-yard line of the 49ers on that long 40-yard pass to Anderson, now have a 1st and goal at the 2. Alan Rice inside. At the goal line, touchdown.
Here it is, a straight ahead block, and this is a tough situation both ways down there, but this is just excellent effort by Alan Rice. 2nd-year player out of Baylor who keeps struggling and working and struggling and gets in for the 6th.
So Bud Grant's Vikings have come within a point of Bill Walsh's 49ers, 7-6. Jan Stenerud will try to tie up the game. Greg Coleman, the punter, holds for Jan. And they are excited here in the Metrodome. The kick is good, and the score is tied. Alan Rice from 1 yard out with a touchdown.
Effort on both sides in this one. Watch number 50, Ricky Ellison, coming from over the top. Takes on Terry Tosh, comes over the top, tries to make the play. No avail.
The San Francisco 49ers in an unexpected battle in the opener against the Minnesota Vikings. Now it's a 7-7 ball game with 1:01 remaining in the 3rd quarter as Jan Stenerud gets set to kick off for the Vikings. Derek Harmon and Dana McLemore are back for the 49ers. It's Harmon at the 5. Harmon to the 25, and he is down just shy of the 30. The 7 plays, 78 yards, the 2 big plays. Alfred Anderson with a 40-yard pass reception, and this great catch by Leo Lewis for 23 yards to give the Vikings 1st and goal.
Little Leo, they call him. He was drafted 6 years ago by the St. Louis Cardinals. Cut. He played in Canada, joined the Minnesota Vikings. He's been with them 5 years, and he hasn't made a better catch than that. One of the reasons I think that he came to Minnesota didn't hurt the fact that his dad played with Bud Grant in Canada.
That helps. Being able to make catches like that really helps. 1st and 10 for the Niners on the 30. Roger Craig hit by Keith Millard. And the Viking defense is aroused, as well as the 62,000 here at the Metrodome.
I told you about Millard earlier. He grew up in the San Francisco area, but he said, I'm a Raider fan. I've been a Raider fan. He kind of looks like he's out of that mold of Howie Long and Alzado. a little bit nasty out there.
Well, he's playing like he's not a 49er fan, but a Raider fan. Gain of 2 for Craig. 2nd down and 8 at the 32-yard line. 20 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. A shocking turn of events here in Minnesota. The defending champions hard pressed in the opening game. Montana steps up. Almost intercepted by Matt Blair. The intended receiver was Freddie Solomon. And it'll be 3rd down, and Blair, who will be 35 years old this month, is shaken up.
Boy, a strange injury there. He hurt himself either jumping up or came down wrong when he landed on the knee.
And one of the more popular players to wear a purple and gold jersey, and you could hear that crowd go from elation to silence in just a split second, and Matt Blair in obvious pain.
And we told you, a 12-year veteran, the captain of this defensive team, and he was a member of that silver anniversary squad that was introduced before this game. The greatest players in Viking history.
There weren't many linebackers that made more big plays than Matt Blair. 7 seconds remain in the 3rd quarter. Other scores: the Cardinals over Cleveland 10-3 at Cleveland Stadium there in the 3rd quarter. Pittsburgh in a big lead over Indianapolis.
Detroit, the Lions, 28-21 over Atlanta in the 3rd quarter. Joe Ferguson, I think, got to start at quarterback, or did Eric Hipple?
Here's a surprise. Houston is forged ahead of Miami. 4th quarter of that game in Houston.
Cincinnati came back and overtook Seattle now, 24-21 in the 3rd.
And Kansas City way out in front of New Orleans. A lot of people are picking Seattle in the AFC as the team that could wind up in the Super Bowl this year in New Orleans. So the 2 Super Bowl teams off of last year. The Giants over Philadelphia 21-0. Miami and the 49ers both struggling. Giants way ahead of Philadelphia. And a hand for Matt Blair.
Blair is number 59, uses his 6'5" to get up and almost make the interception. Let's see how he comes down. Hard to tell. May have pulled a muscle on the way up. It didn't look like he landed anyway where it would cause him an injury. We'll get a report and pass it on.
3rd down and 8. At the 32. Montana. Up the middle. 1st down. Caught there by Jerry Rice at the 47-yard line. So that's the 2nd catch that Rice has made in traffic. That good for 15 yards as the clock sounds.
This one will really answer the question, really catch it over the middle. Total concentration here. Short post pattern. The ball's hanging up. He knows what's going to happen to him after he catches it. And he stayed right with it.
Jerry Rice, 3 catches for 44 yards. Browner made the stop as the 3rd quarter ends. And,
sequence of the game, if Minnesota allows the 49ers to score, it'd be like getting a service break and then getting it back in tennis.
That's later on. U.S. Open Finals. 1st and 10 at the 47-yard line. Wendell Tyler finds a hole and has a 1st down to the Viking 41-yard line. Joey Browner on the stop. Tyler gains 12 yards, and he is coming close to the 100 mark in this opening game.
We gave you the reasons earlier why he's so effective running inside, his quickness, but also some great blocking up front by the San Francisco offensive line. Watch it here. Double team the nose tackle with Cross and Ayers and took him downfield about 8 yards, and that opened up a gigantic hole.
And officially, Wayne, Wendell Tyler has 101 yards, so he has gone over the 100 mark as the 49ers have a 1st and 10 on the Viking 40. Russ Francis moves in motion outside. Montana with time, fires. Solomon is there. He makes the catch, and another 1st down at the 22-yard line. Rufus best covering. Solomon's really a money guy when you get close to that goal line.
So's number 16. He hasn't had what you'd call one of his better days, but as we said, it doesn't seem to bother him. Watch this throw. This is a great throw. It's a long throw, a lot longer than it seems because he's thrown to the sideline, and it's right there for Solomon where no one else could possibly get to it.
An 18-yard pickup, so on this drive, Montana has hit rookie Jerry Rice for 15 and Freddie Solomon for 18. 1st and 10 on the Viking 22. Opening minutes of the final quarter. Tyler is hit immediately by Studwell, who just stormed through, and Wendell didn't know what hit him.
On a blitz. They pulled the guards, and he came in right through a gap on a blitz. behind the pulling guard.
See here whether the Vikings can tighten up at the line here in their big defensive test of the game.
Watch the two guards pulling right there. Here comes Studwell. He was a middle linebacker right in behind him and makes the play.
Lose a yard on the play. Second down and 11 back at the 23. Here's the kind of game Wendell Tyler has. He goes in motion. Deep drop for Montana, and he finds his tight end, John Frank, off to the left side. Frank is out of bounds at the 17-yard line, driven there by Willie Teal. Gain of about 5.
This was, I think, the number 2 receiver here. Montana will look downfield for Freddie Solomon, who's trying to split his zone down the middle. Nothing there, so he comes right over here to John Frank, the tight end, who ran a little slant out and picks up pretty good yardage.
They call Frank the heir apparent at tight end. He's probably the best blend of a blocker and receiver that the Niners have. Out of Ohio State in his second year. Third down and 6 at the 18. 6 defensive backs in there for the Vikings. Montana going for Craig all alone. He's got it. 5. Penalty marker down. He's in the end zone. Touchdown. But a penalty marker was thrown as Roger Craig was wide open on the right side.
Holding defense.
It'll count. Touchdown, 18 yards.
Touchdown.
And Craig has scored his second touchdown of the game. And the 49ers have moved in front now 13-7.
Watch 55, Studwell, the linebacker. He has coverage right here. He starts out in pretty good shape, but Craig just too fast for him with no help from any defensive backs. They got to know where the rest of them went. Really, there should have been a free safety or somebody over there helping him out. Studwell had him all the way to the corner, and there's just no way.
So now with Joe Montana holding, Ray Wershing will try to add the 14th point. He does. And it's 14-7 in favor of the 49ers right now. We pause for a word from your local station. Roger Craig, 66 yards rushing and a touchdown, 6 receptions for 53 yards and a touchdown.
He said after the Super Bowl, people are going to expect a lot from me.
He's delivering in this opening game as the 49ers look far better on that drive. A key drive, as you pointed out, Wayne. Buster Rhymes at the goal line running it back. Gets tripped up. Otherwise, he might have gone a little more. It was Jim Farnhorst who tripped up Buster Rhymes, who gets beyond the 30-yard line. Rookie from Oklahoma and a wide receiver candidate, was a 4th-round draft pick. Here's the scoring drive, capped by Montana's 10-yard touchdown pass to Craig, with big tosses to Jerry Rice, ending the third, and Freddie Solomon in the opening minute of the final quarter. Joe Montana.
Stats are starting to look a little better now. 17 out of 27 he's hit. 183 yards and the 1 touchdown.
1st and 10 for the Vikings on their own 34-yard line. 12:38, plenty of time remaining. 14-7 San Francisco. Kramer, play action up the middle. Darren Nelson spins away, and Darren Nelson gets an extra 4 or 5 yards and gets 9 all told to the 43-yard line before Dwight Hicks and Eric Wright bring him down.
Minnesota calls that play a hide. Watch Darren Nelson. It'll be a play fake right here, but watch him just kind of get down there, wait a few counts, see him kind of sneaking down. He's a little guy anyway. They call it a hide. Then he slips out underneath the linebackers, hopes to break a tackle or two and pick up good yardage. He picked up 9.
Theo Lewis and Mike Jones wide left at the 42-yard line. Darren Nelson battles his way for a 1st down at the 45-yard line, and that's all they wanted there. Dwayne Board and Mike Walter make the stop on Darren Nelson. Dwayne Board, the best all-round defensive lineman of a good group.
And they haven't used him a lot in this ball game. You know, Bill Walsh with that system, and George Seifert, the defensive coach, of getting fresh legs in there in the 4th quarter. And they're doing that now with Board's in there, Dean's in there, Johnson, and so it's crunch time, and they've got the people in there now that they want.
Board and Keena Turner, just to name 2. Of course, you know about Fred Dean, who usually is there when it counts at the very end. 1st and 10 at the 45. Alfred Anderson in motion, play action. Kramer Fires, caught, another first down with a tight end, Steve Jordan. Good for 11 yards. Ricky Ellison on the tackle. Steve Jordan, who caught 38 passes, catches a good one there.
You know, we heard so much about Les Steckel's famed Ironman contest last year that almost put this team into oblivion, and no one ever talked about the guy that won it. You're looking at him right there. Number 83 beat everybody in all those torture drills that they ran. Rope climbing and conditioning, where guys were falling by the wayside. He's a great athlete from Brown.
First and 10 at the San Francisco 44 with 10 and a half minutes to play in the fourth quarter. Vikings trailing 14-7. Going deep this time for Mike Jones. Touchdown! Touchdown.
Single here against Ronnie Lott, number 42. Lott in good shape here. Takes a little outside move and suddenly is in trouble. Jones runs a straight up. He was the starter before Anthony Carter got here. No stranger to the end zone. He got 40 touchdown passes in college at Tennessee State. That's an NCAA record.
And here is Tommy Kramer's reaction. Keep in mind, last year he threw a 70-yard touchdown pass to Jones against the L.A. Raiders. He comes back with a big strike here, and the furrowed brow of Bill Walsh is evident. It's 14-13. Jan Stenerud with Coleman holding, ties it up. And we've got a new ball game.
Jack Rafferty proves you just can't tell.
With 10 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter, that's the scoring drive. A 44-yard pass to Mike Jones. And in a shocking game, and we've been saying that throughout, there is Jones in his third year from Tennessee. The Vikings and the 49ers are tied at 14 with 10:20 to go. Stenerud will be kicking off for the Minnesota Vikings. Mike Jones, who caught 38 passes last year, but as Wayne pointed out, established his big play ability in the past. What a turn of events, not only for the 49ers, but the other Super Bowl team, the Miami Dolphins, who are struggling with the Houston Oilers. Both the Vikings and the Oilers were 3-13 last year. So the have-nots getting a few licks in today. Here's Derek Harmon at the 5-yard line, returning the kickoff. And he is stopped at the 23. The key to Kramer getting time for the long touchdown bomb.
Minnesota great blocking, and they pick up a safety blitz. Watch the bottom of your screen now. Carlton Williamson, number 27, will come in. Looks like he's untouched, and is until right there. Alfred Anderson steps into him, enables Kramer to get the ball off, and it was a beauty.
Tommy Kramer with the touchdown throw, and a penalty has been assessed against the Minnesota Vikings.
Personal foul, number 47 defense after the run, first down.
That's Joey Browner. That'll give the 49ers a lot of breathing room up to the 38-yard line. First and 10 at the 38. Matt Blair is back in the game, an outside linebacker. Joe Montana screen to Freddie Solomon, who goes down and picks up 6 yards on the play, defended by Rufus Betts.
You know, Dickey said earlier this week that this game would be as tough as any they play all year. No one believed him.
They do now. Time remaining in the fourth quarter. Joe Montana, 10 of 12 in the second half. Tommy Kramer also has come alive in the second half. Inside to Wendell Tyler. Tyler has gone over 100 yards rushing on the day as a first down as he drives the ball into Minnesota territory to the 45. 11-yard pickup. Keith Nord on the tackle.
Watch John Ayers, the left guard, come through, gets Studwell, number 55. Cross gets the other linebacker. And Tyler has free skating.
Wendell has carried 18 times for 108 yards. It was 7-0 at halftime on Roger Craig's early touchdown. Derek Harmon replaces Wendell Tyler. 1st and 10 at the 45. Roger Craig with Randy Cross blocking goes forward to the 40-yard line, and Pete Rose, who put himself in the lineup on this Sunday, it wasn't anticipated that he would, has played and has just tied Ty Cobb's record for career hits, 4,191. The game is played at Wrigley Field. If he doesn't get any more hits, he'll have a chance to break it before the home fans at Cincinnati's Riverfront Stadium. Second down and 7 on the 42. Craig and Tyler back in there, a tandem. That's the time remaining. Montana's quick toss to Solomon, driving for the first down, and he may have it. Fumble. The whistle had blown. There's no fumble. Pass is complete, and we may have a measurement at the 35-yard line. Bud Grant. Have you ever seen him lose his temper?
No, I really haven't. I've seen him grimace and shake his head a few times, but he doesn't get carried away. He's really something. He says a good coach has got to have a good quarterback, a loyal dog, and a faithful wife. And he says if you get any spare time, don't spend it with your quarterback.
He knows how to live. The measurement shy by a little less than a yard. You know, it's important. People look at coaches and wonder why they don't get more excited. Tom Landry never is, because he's always thinking ahead, and that's what Bud Grant is doing. And Bill Walsh, too.
You know, it looks kind of, it always, after playing against him for so many years, it's kind of funny to see him indoors here. You know, I keep wanting to see him outside with the steam coming out of the nostrils and all wrapped up in the cold. Bob Holloway right there next to him. But Bud Grant himself, when it was raining this morning, he said, well, I wish we were playing this one outside today.
No heaters. 3 tight ends for the Niners, Francis, Cooper, and Frank. 3rd down and 1. 2 running backs. Montana, first down. Right now for an NFL Today report. Here's Brent Musburger in New York. Brent?
Well, Dick, here it is. One of the great...
Thank you, Brent. So much like Rose, he wants to get the hits. He wants to stay in the race. That's more important than anything else. Wendell Tyler breaks one and is close to a first down. Wendell Tyler is tackled by Keith Nord. And the 49ers leading ground gainer at over 1,200 yards, off to a terrific start here.
He sure is, getting a lot of help, too. The offensive line really controlling the line of scrimmage, and Roger Craig with an excellent lead block. Fawnhorst over there. And once he plants and gets upfield, he's a blur.
He's got 117 yards. The clock running, 7 minutes remaining in the 4th quarter. 2nd down and 1. And Roger Craig, first down inside the 20. Tackle, Keith Millard and Mark Mullaney. And so the 49ers, who had a solid drive, 8 plays, 70 yards, when they took the lead, showing another good drive here.
And what you're seeing here really is the team that you expected to see at the start of this ball game and throughout it. They're completely controlling the game right now, physically across the line of scrimmage, and that's what they had hoped to do. But mistakes and penalties slowed them down.
Matt Blair slowed up. He had knee surgery, and sometimes that knee locks on him, and that apparently is what happened the first time when he was in pain on a deflected pass. And apparently maybe that knee again.
Yeah, you bet, Dick. Anytime you've been in the league for 12 years at an outside linebacker spot, you're going to have a few aches and pains and things floating around in joints that don't ordinarily belong there. And you wonder, you know, is it worth surgery to have him taken now? Blair is a good one, and he'll be back.
Recapping, the 49ers led 7-0 on a Roger Craig 10-yard touchdown run. It remained that way at halftime. And then in the 3rd quarter, the Vikings went to the air. Big passes to Alfred Anderson, and Leo Lewis set up an Allen Rice 1-yard plunge to tie the game up. Then the 49ers struck back. Freddie Solomon on an 18-yard reception set up an 18-yard pass. All alone was Roger Craig to make it 14-7. And then Tommy Kramer hit Mike Jones with a 44-yard strike to tie it up at 14-14 on a 4-play, 66-yard drive. And that's where we are as the 49ers are driving with 6:20 to go. First and 10 at the 19. Chris Dolman, the rookie from Pitt, replaces Matt Blair. Montana lofts it up for Craig. He's there. He's in. Touchdown.
Same play. They just can't get to him. Studwell can't keep up with him on that play.
19 yards, and Roger Craig, who scored 3 touchdowns in the Super Bowl against the Dolphins, has scored 3 in this opening game against the Vikings.
Minnesota screen. Watch Studwell again. He'll be over the middle. He's out a little step further this time and has a better chance, but it's still not going to work. He just can't stay with him. Montana's picked it up twice in a row and gotten it out there with no help for Studwell. Rufus Best coming over, but he's way too late. That's just the scheme of their defense, and it's not working in that particular play. That's obvious.
So Roger Craig following suit. Ray Wershing makes it 21-14. Craig with 3 TDs. Oh, we have a penalty marker down, so let's wait. 6:06 showing on the clock. Craig with 3 touchdowns against Miami.
Holding, offense 95.
Well, this penalty will be marked off against Michael Carter of the 49ers, and so Wershing will have to add that point from further back.
Well, Minnesota historically under Bud Grant will put a lot of pressure on extra points and field goals, and they'll do it from up the middle. They'll line up 4 guys basically right over the center and the guards and stack up in that middle. 2 of them will surge as far forward as they can. 2 others will fold in behind, and then they'll jump.
This will be a 30-yard conversion. Montana holding. And the kick is good. Wershing adds the conversion, and it's 21-14 in favor of the 49ers. The 49ers getting their motor running into second gear and third gear. That's the scoring drive capped by Joe Montana's second touchdown pass of the game. Roger Craig has scored all 3 of the 49er touchdowns as Ray Wershing kicks off to Minnesota with 6:06 showing on the clock here in the 4th quarter. Buster Rhymes at the goal line. With the 20, and Torrey Nixon, who was picked up from the Washington Redskins, who was their #1 pick, finally stops Buster Rhymes at the 36-yard line. Well, coming up next, the final 1st and 10 for the Vikings on their 36. Kramer falls down over his own man, Darren Nelson. You don't often see that. You see them bang into each other, but you don't see a tackle.
I'm not sure whether he was going to be long for the world anyway, because Fred Dean made such an extreme move to the left. He was over the top of Curtis Rouse before he knew what happened. Watch this. There he goes down. Darren Nelson's down, but look who's coming in right here. 74 was right on his trail.
Loss of 9. 2nd and 19 on the 27. I may put you on the spot after this play, knowing you're a tennis devotee. 5:32 remaining. Kramer out of the shotgun, has some time on the run, complete to Leo Lewis. And Lewis nearly gets back to the original line of scrimmage at the 35. Well, final score, Seattle came back and beat Cincinnati after the Bengals had wrested the lead away from the Seahawks. Final score, the Giants over Philadelphia, 21-0. Other scores. Chicago, they were trailing big early, and they've come back to take a 10-point lead in the 4th quarter. Pittsburgh with an easy romp in the first game, leading. And Detroit over Atlanta in a tight game in the 4th quarter. Cardinals in front. Miami regains the lead in the 4th. Penalty marker down, movement in the line. On 3rd and 11. Caught by Lewis. Stopped by Ronnie Lott finally at about the 40-yard line. Take some other scores. The Patriots. They're leading in the 4th quarter. New Orleans coming back, but Kansas City still with a comfortable lead.
Offside, defense, number 78, still 3rd down.
Tuiasosopo with offside. That's why I have to continue and make that pass play. So it'll be 3rd and 6. Final score, the Steelers, the defending champions in the AFC Central, beat the Colts 45-3. What about that tennis final today, Wayne?
I'm going to pick McEnroe. But it should be great. They've never played a bad one, those two.
No. 4 o'clock Eastern. for the championship. 3rd down and 6 at the 40. Put pressure on Kramer. Going up on top for Leo Lewis, and it's overthrown. They had Eric Wright and Dana McLemore back there, but they put pressure on Kramer. 4th down. .434 remaining in the 4th quarter. Greg Coleman will in to kick again. Dana McLemore, who's back at the 15. Roger Craig has scored 3 touchdowns today. Big scoring play was a pass from Kramer to Mike Jones for 44 yards. 21-14 to score. San Francisco. Coleman gets off a good kick. McLemore back at the 10. Stopped at the 20 by Keith Noor. 50-yard punt by Coleman, and we'll be back to Minneapolis. Wayne Walker, the 49ers have the lead and the ball at this point.
They have it at the 20-yard line, so they're 80 yards away from the score, and you might ask, will they be conservative now? Will they try to hold the ball? Well, naturally, they'll try to do that. But I don't think they'll be all that conservative. That's just not their style. They're not going to run the ball 3 times and kick it to Minnesota and hope that their defense can hold. I think they'll try to move down the field and get some more points. I really do. I don't think they'll sit on it.
Joe Montana appears to be more in sync with his wide receivers in the second half.
We talked about, he may start off a little slow, but it just never bothers him. They've come back on these last drives and look like they did when they were in the Super Bowl. So it's to his credit that he can handle things that way when they're not going good.
And you got to be surprised that the Vikings go 3-13 again.
Oh, I will. That's no question, Dick. If they could win 3 games or 4 games the first half of the season, I took a peek at their second half schedule, and it's against teams that they really can play with. And if they keep improving like this, they could be a factor in that division.
At the 21. Craig. Quick burst up the middle. Gets to the 26-yard line. The 49ers have something like 440 yards total offense. They gained over 500 in beating the Vikings last year, but that was a 51-7 score. And the big advantage today in the offensive department has been in the 49er ground game.
Yeah, it's taken a long time to do it, but they have their dominance now at the line of scrimmage. And it took them quite some time to establish it, but they do have it.
2nd down and 5 for Montana, who briefly was sent to the sidelines with a little ankle problem in the first quarter. Jerry Rice and Mike Wilson are the wide receivers to the right. Inside handoff, Tyler loses the ball. It's recovered by the Vikings. Doug Martin. Did he get in? No. Out of bounds at the 1. And all of a sudden, Wayne, the Vikings very much in this game with 3:27 to play.
It's been hard to believe the things that have happened today to the 49ers. It's been good hustle by Minnesota, but watch Wendell Tyler here struggling for yardage, and sometimes to keep balance, that ball is out a little bit. This time it was just punched out of there by Studwell, number 55. Got a hand in there, punched it out. Here's Martin. Now watch Mike Wilson, number 85, come from the back here, and I think he's the one that saves the touchdown. Who's coming in from the side? Keep rolling there, and we'll see that. That might have been Roger Craig. Couldn't tell for sure. But nevertheless, the Vikings in business. 1st and goal at the 1. The crowd at a fevered pitch. Vikings looking to tie it up. And here is Alan Rice inside. No signal yet from the officials. Alan Rice, who scored the first Viking touchdown, is stopped short of the goal line on 1st down. Mike Walter there, and there you see. Wonder what the thoughts are going through Tyler's mind. Well, I tell you what, he had the ball put away. It wasn't one of those fumbles where he was out waving the ball around and somebody stripped him. He was getting in traffic, and he had it in the right spot. It was just a great effort by Studwell to went in there and punched that ball out with his fist.
5 turnovers and 2 other near misses. 2nd and goal at the 1. Touchdown. sunk it. .256 remaining, and here's how the Vikings have drawn to within one.
Ground level, you're right on the goal line, so you'll be able to tell if that ball breaks the plane of the end zone, and it did.
It is now 21-20, and Bill Walsh's 49ers are getting the test of their lives in this opening game. Coleman will hold for Stenerud. With 2:56 remaining, we'll try to tie it up. You'll hear the crowd. If you think this is a shocker right now with 2:56 remaining in the game, look at this one. The Houston Oilers beat the Miami Dolphins 26-23. So the 3-13 Oilers upset the AFC champion Dolphins, and the Minnesota Vikings, who are also 3-13 last year, are trying to do likewise to the defending world champion 49ers. Kicking off to Stenerud and Derek Harmon at the 1. Loses it. Vikings have it. Willie Teal made the hit, and Joey Browner made the recovery.
Bud Grant has historically used his starters on special teams. That's the reason why. Number 37, Willie Teal, right there with the hit. Joey Browner, number 47, with the recovery. 49ers had it going. Harmon had a pretty good hole coming up there, was in good shape, but it was a good hit, and he lost control. That man hasn't lost his control yet, but I'm sure much more of this than he's about to.
6 turnovers, 5 of them fumbles, and the 49ers are in danger of getting upset here. It is 21-21, 2:44 remaining. And the Vikings have the ball on the 49er 34. Welcome back, Bud Grant. In motion goes Anderson. Fake. And Kramer finds Jordan. And Jordan has a first down to the 12. Ronnie Lott makes the hit. 22-yard gain, and the Vikings are threatening.
Great play-action faking back here by Kramer. Watch this. Look at it, hold the linebackers in there. Both 99 Walter and 50 Ellison get turned around. Now watch the Iron Man. We told you he won the contest. There's why.
You had to be an Iron Man to survive those hits. That's the story right there. 1st and 10. For the Vikings on the 12-yard line, and now the 2-minute warning. Joe Montana's thinking about what will happen when he gets the ball again, but the cheers are for this man.
Well, what a sensational fake he made back there on the play action. And then Steve Jordan ran across the field, kind of a short pattern, made the catch. It was right on the money. Sensational call. You know, that was, Bud Grant used to do that all the time, and I'll bet you he has another one. He and Jerry Burns, the offensive coordinator. In the old days when we'd play him, they'd always save something. I think they maybe learned it way back as far as Bobby Lane, but he'd always save 1 or 2 things to use at the end of a ball game. That pass we saw to Jordan right there hadn't been used in this ball game. They saved it. Crucial time. They're inside the 10 right now, or rather they're at the 12. Once they get inside the 10, I'll bet you they have something else like that they haven't shown today that we'll see possibly.
Any similarity between last year's Minnesota Viking team and this year is purely coincidental. No question about it. Browner has played an outstanding game. Teal, the secondary, has really played a tremendous game. Meanwhile, Jeff Fuller and the 49ers are in shock over on their side. You don't win games with those mistakes. And while the Vikings had a punt away early, they finally took advantage of the fumble, scoring a touchdown to tie it up. What'll happen on this turnover, as it's 1st and 10 at the 12-yard line for the Vikings? Keep in mind now, Jan Stenerud was perfect last year from inside the 40. And if the Vikings can't get 6, they'll call for Jan to try to give them a lead.
You know that now on defense, the 49ers are saying to each other, we've got to go after the ball. We've got to punch it out. Studwell did it for them. They'll attack it the same way. They'll go after the ball any way they can.
The Vikings have not had the lead at all in this game. They trailed 7-0 and tied it up at 7, and it was 14-7 and a tie, 21-14, and they came back in time. Anderson and Rice are the running backs. It's Rice. Allen Rice fights his way to the 10-yard line. And now the 49ers call one of their 3 timeouts to stop the clock.
Clock is more important to them than those timeouts. I don't think they'll spend them all, but they may spend one more
and keep one for offense.
And try to keep one for offense and try to keep a little time on the clock. And of course their goal is right now, 0 points. That's almost unrealistic. They definitely have got to keep Minnesota out of the end zone, or I know that he'll feel that it's almost a hopeless situation to go the length of the field with perhaps only one timeout remaining.
Keep in mind, the 49ers have played the Vikings twice in the last 2 years and have rolled up 99 points in those victories, but a different story today. And also realize that in their first game a year ago, the 49ers needed a field goal from Ray Wersching with seconds remaining to beat the Detroit Lions 30-27. They were tested in the opening game last year, Wayne, and they went from there.
If I were the Niners on defense now, I'd be very aware of the tight ends again. Play action again, and they'll block down and hold for a count or 2 and then slip out. Rams like that one over the years.
2nd down and 8 at the 10. Ted Brown, good receiver, is in the backfield, number 23. Off to Brown. This is off left side. And he's in for the touchdown.
Dick, I'll bet you anything this was an audible. He called 2:26, and they ran it right into the 6 hole over there. Tommy Kramer saw something, got a great block from Terry Tosh. Brown did, and they're in the end zone, and I think Kramer audibled that play. First carry of the game for Ted Brown, who scored 6 touchdowns last year to lead the Vikings. It is 27-21, and the looks at the 49er bench say it all. Coleman is holding for Stenerud. The kick is good, and it's 28-21, but a penalty marker is down. Penalty marker down. If it's against the 49ers, it'll be assessed on the kickoff. Here it is. 49ers had a blitz on, but Kramer saw it, and that's probably why he audibled, and he audibled away from Carlton Williamson, the strong safety.
During the try.
Boy, did it work.
Penalty against Dennis Johnson of the Vikings. So as was the case with Ray Wersching earlier, they're going to have to try the conversion again. It remains 27-21, but there's the man who scored the go-ahead touchdown, Ted Brown. First time the Vikings have been in the lead all day. Walsh, a man who is innovative and has a great mind for the offense. Sure, he has what he wants to do, getting set for a one last ditch drive. They'll kick it again. This is a 29-yard attempt for the conversion. And this is good. The reaction to the touchdown. Here's how the Vikings saw it. 1:49 remaining. Standing ovation for the Vikings. 28-21, the Vikings are leading with 1:49 remaining in the fourth quarter. The 49ers have 2 timeouts remaining, and they need 7 points to tie this game. But it's been mistakes on the part of the 49ers. Fumble by Wendell Tyler, recovered by Doug Martin, and Anderson scored to tie it up with 3:27 to go. And then Derek Harmon fumbled, returning the kickoff, and a 22-yard pass to Steve Jordan set up Ted Brown's 10-yard run to give the Vikings a 28-21 lead, and Stenerud will be kicking off again. Turnaround by the Vikings, graphically illustrated right there. Miami Dolphins have already lost to Houston, and the defending world champion 49ers are trailing here. And it's going to be up to number 16, Wayne.
Minnesota scored so quickly after San Francisco called that first timeout. Keep in mind they still have 2 left. They have 2 left now.
1:49 on the clock. Whether they execute or not, you will see the 49er offense, the style of their offense in 2-minute drill, and that's what Bill Walsh is looking at right now.
And they're going to have to go as deep in the bag as they've had to for a long time to pull this one out.
You see the damage of those last 2 mistakes resulting in Viking touchdowns. To the Vikings' credit, they never fell more than 1 touchdown behind in this game. And here's Stenerud. Harmon and McLemore are back for the 49ers. And it's Harmon at the 1. Protecting the ball, Derek Harmon runs it out to the 29-yard line. The tackle is made by David Howard as the clock stops with 1:44 to go. And it's in the hands of Joe Montana. That's the story. And the 49ers have 2 timeouts remaining.
We definitely won't see any trickery, Dick. There won't be any reverses and passes off that, because that's not going to fool Minnesota now. They're going to be playing a little loose. They can give the 49ers some yards.
Mike Wilson and Jerry Rice out to the right. In motion is Earl Cooper. 1st and 10 at the 29. Montana fires, caught. Earl Cooper shy of a 1st down. He gets to the 38. It'll be 2nd down and 2, or Joey Browner makes the hit as the clock continues to run. Fumble, lost ball, and the 49ers squander an opportunity right there. And now they may be forced in using a timeout, and they will. They've got 1 left with that much time remaining. Tough break for a team that needs all the time and all the help they can get on this drive.
You look at the faces, and I think the thing that you'll notice is there's no loss of composure or lack of confidence over there. There's no berating anybody or finger pointing or anything like that. And there's a guy who has hung in there, come back from an injury last year, hung in there today, and has been sensational here in the late stages of this game. And I'm just dying to know if he really did audibilize that Ted Brown touchdown. I'm almost positive he did, and it was just a great call by him.
He had completed only 4 passes early in the game, but it seemed like a different Tommy Kramer when he came out in the second half. It was 7-0 at halftime, but he had some long strikes, including a 44-yard touchdown pass to Mike Jones. He's called a smart game. 3rd down and 4. Nickel back for the Vikings. Montana completes it to Mike Wilson, gets the 1st down, and goes out of bounds to stop the clock at the 42 with 1:14 on the clock. They'll move the sticks, and with 1:14 to go, the 49ers, keep in mind, still only 1 timeout left.
Montana is almost impossible to sack, Dick, in these situations where you're just rushing 4 people. He'll get back there and look around, and if anything shows up pressure-wise, he'll move away from it. So it's very hard to count on that, and that's what Minnesota's doing, is rushing just 4.
Dwight Clark is in the game. Lines up to the left. Montana in the pocket, drills it, and it's caught inside the 40-yard line by Jerry Rice, and the rookie makes another big catch and another 1st down for the 49ers to the 35-yard line. A 23-yard catch by Rice. Studwell and Nord make the tackle. Under a minute to go. 49ers in Minnesota territory. Montana swings it out, and Cooper can't hold on to it. Tough catch to make.
Ball was thrown a little low, but Montana made a great throw to Rice, just the one before that. It all matters. And you need every one of them at this time. But not that time.
Jerry Rice has been a factor in the 49er passing attack, and I think that he's answered a lot of questions as far as going from Mississippi Valley State to the world champion. 2nd and 10 at the 35. 49ers need a touchdown. Anything less? Not enough. Montana under pressure finds Cooper. Out of his hands, he was wide open, and Walsh looks angry now on the sideline. It's 3rd down and 10. Here's how the coach saw that play.
A little pressure on Montana. He moves out. Cooper's wide open. Looks downfield before the ball is in his hands. And the coach can't believe it.
3rd and 10 at the 35-yard line. 43 seconds remaining. And the 49ers have to go 35 yards. Bud Grant and the Vikings wait in anticipation. 3rd and 10. Montana with time. Mike Wilson has it out of bounds. Another first down at the 22. Rufus Bess is covering, and that stops the clock with 37 seconds to go. That was good for 13 yards.
They're getting to the point now where Minnesota is defensively, Dick, where they can't afford to lay off the 49er receivers as much as they have. They're going to have to start playing them a little bit tighter and perhaps shoot somebody in there instead of the 4 men to put some pressure on Montana.
Wendell Tyler is in at running back. Russ Francis returns to tight end. 1st and 10 at the Vikings 22. Vikings lead by 7. Montana looking, going for the corner of the end zone. Roger Craig is there, but out of the end zone. It won't count. And it was Isaac Holt, a rookie from Alcorn State, who was covering Craig.
What a great adjustment here by Roger Craig. A fine catch, but he definitely is out of bounds. Holt has pretty good coverage. And just a step away.
31 seconds remain, and Freddie Solomon getting the play from Bill Walsh. 2nd down and 10 at the 22-yard line. Meanwhile, at the other side,
Paul Wiggins there. The large fellow with the green crew cut, former coach at Kansas City and Stanford. Line coach here.
Solomon and Clark are the wide receivers. Dumps it off to Tyler. Tyler, penalty marker down, and Wendell Tyler fights his way inside the 20. 22 seconds on the clock, which stops. Joey Browner on the hit, and the penalty is against the 49ers. Looked like offensive interference, Wayne. Illegal use of the hand.
May have been a lineman blocking while the ball's in the air on the screen. Any number of things.
The critical number for the 49ers is the time, 22 seconds. 28-21 in favor of the Minnesota Vikings, who have hung in there valiantly all game against the 49ers and finally took the lead.
Offensive pass interference. Offensive pass interference, 87, 10 yards, still 2nd down.
It was on Dwight Clark pushing off downfield. That's a tough call when, let's take a look. Now, this could be one of those option type screens where if he's open, they'll go to him. If not, they'll dump it off, working against Willie Teal. Now, Clark looks like he's blocking all the way. And you saw why the call was made. He was blocking while the ball was in the air, and you can't do that.
And now the Minnesota Vikings have called up their first timeout of the second half, and they have 2 left. Now the Viking entire defensive team has come off the field to talk with Bob Holloway and his coaches on the sideline, and that's something you don't often see.
You know, he's got them all over there. And I think that's a good idea in this situation, because a lot of things, you send your defensive captain over there, and a lot of things can get lost in the translation of it. So if you've got the time like this, bring everybody over, and let's all talk it over so we're all on the same page and we're all thinking the same way. And a lot of young guys, as we said, 4 new defensive starters from last year, haven't been in this kind of situation many times. Well, let's make sure. Now, these people, they've been in that situation before over on the San Francisco side. I'm pretty sure they know what they're going to do. know that they probably don't have enough time to do exactly what they want to do, as it's running down on them.
Second down and 20. The important thing is not the 20, but where the ball is, the 32, and more important, the clock. 22 seconds left, and the Niners have one timeout remaining.
All Bob Holloway said, I'm sure that the last thing he said when they broke that sideline there was, don't make a mistake behind you. If you make any mistakes, make them in front of you.
The defense is back on the field, and so are the 49ers. Second down. Solomon and Clark are the receivers. In motion is Solomon. Montana screens it out, and Solomon wasn't looking for the ball. A broken play, and Freddie Solomon did not look back at all, and Joe Montana, and the pass hit him on the back. You don't see that often with the Niners.
No, and look out, watch Solomon out here. Now here's Montana, and if you'll, as the camera pans, perhaps you can see Dwight Clark downfield already blocking, so it was a set play there.
It didn't hit him, but it landed right behind him.
He was trying to kind of set a little pick and screen down there for Solomon, but it didn't happen.
18 seconds remain. Solomon yells the play to Joe Montana. They have 2 downs to get it done. Jerry Rice is in the game at wide receiver. Penalty flag will stop the play. 15 seconds remain, so 3 seconds tick off there.
False start, number 71, 5 yards, third down.
Keith Fahnhorst, the right tackle who played at the University of Minnesota, doesn't make the 49er task any easier here with 15 seconds remaining. Grant and Walsh, both of whom have been to the Super Bowl. Walsh has won 2, Grant has lost 4. But Bud Grant is here under different circumstances. He's trying to rebuild, get back to those days of the Super Bowl. Third down at the 37. They put the 3 seconds back on the clock. 18 left. Montana falls down. And a penalty marker down, too. "14 seconds showing." Let's see what the flag is. Jim Tunney's been busy holding another one against San Francisco.
Maybe recused.
It would be 4th down if they refuse it.
Scott Studwell wants to know exactly what they want to do on the sideline. Tell me, do I take it?
They don't.
Do I refuse it?
You're right, Wayne. They're going to decline the penalty.
Holding, 71, decline, 4th down.
Keith Fahnhorst.
Watch Montana's feet right here. Goes down without anyone touching him.
So now the 49ers need to get to the 12 for a first down, but once again the Vikings call a timeout, leaving them with 1, and once again they go to the sideline en masse to talk things over with Bob Holloway, the defensive coach. But this is where the big decision has to be made on the 49ers side.
Yeah, it's almost a hopeless task over there now. It really is. 14 seconds left. They still have 1 timeout remaining. There's just not much you can do. I think over there now, you ask yourself, do we try a Hail Mary? Do we try that kind of play? Or, do we stay with a regular situation? It's either one of them. It's just like rolling the dice.
You figure they've got 2 plays left with 14 seconds, 2 long pass plays?
Not with 4th down, Dick. We're looking at 4th
right.
down.
Sorry, they got to get to the 12-yard line.
Yes.
So it's not important for them necessarily to go all the way and get the score.
So this is it right here for them, basically, and unless they gain down to the 12. And what I'm saying is they got to really, if they're thinking anything right now, that they're thinking about what do we have that can get us into the end zone now. We can't think about getting it in the next play. Dwayne Board.
So this is it. 3 wide receivers stacked up on the left side. 4th down, and they're going Hail Mary. And the pass may be intercepted. It is. The Vikings have the ball. And as it looks like the game as well. Rufus Best picks it off. 5 seconds remain in the ball game.
The three receivers. Clark 87, Cooper 89, Mike Wilson 85. Browner up, number 47, got the first hand on it. Best took it and fell backwards with it. Minnesota didn't care as long as they got it.
The 7th turnover committed by the 49ers in an uncharacteristic style in first game of the season. And Bud Grant's return to the sidelines of the Minnesota Vikings on the day in which they honored the silver anniversary team has been nothing short of a smashing success. 28-21. The Vikings lead with 5 seconds remaining. And it's over.
And Dick, I know that this will rank with that game 25 years ago when the Vikings won the very first game in the franchise history against the Chicago Bears.
It's right up there. The final score, Minnesota 28, the defending champion San Francisco 49ers 21. Stay tuned for the U.S. Open Tennis Championships next. You've been watching CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League.